Welcome to the Deer Hunter Podcast, a platform created to entertain, educate, and evolve the modern-day deer hunter.
I listened back to the podcast. Fuck.
And then you
It's
got
so
Ryan
quiet.
just blowing headsets
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, we make it difficult.
Well, these mics too, I mean, it's not like we have a official audio guy that's sitting here the whole time tweaking. I mean, I do the best I can, but sometimes I'll look over and it's like for 5 minutes we've been being really loud and I should have turned it down.
Yeah.
Or somebody's been
Yeah.
quiet. What really happens, the worst thing is guys are always moving their mics, and I'm conscious of it and try to adjust and stuff, but you know, if this mic's just 1 inch from your mouth, it's a big difference if it's 3
Sure.
inches.
Yeah.
But could you imagine having to try to do this with normal microphones and
No.
have to
talk into it.
Lean in and
a
make
bunch
sure,
of guys
yeah,
that
no
don't
way.
do radio ever? So I
Just get the
that's
pull down ones from the ceiling, you know. And
that's why I figured these would be good because they're kind of like affixed
yeah.
to your face, and so far they've been great.
Yeah.
Really, a lot of I won't say a lot, but a few people have contacted us asking what audio equipment we use because they're interested in doing podcasts. And anybody that is, I highly suggest. The name of the place is Sweetwater Sound. I got all my stuff through, and the guy's name is Jim, I believe Jim James. If you are interested in ever getting a podcast started, you can contact me. I can give you his name because he's an audio engineer. And when I was ordering all this stuff, he's like, "Can I ask what you're doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm starting a podcast." And he's like, "Well, just explain to me what you're trying to do." And, you know, I told him. And he's like, "Yeah, that's not going to work." And I was like,
Yeah.
I knew it was going to work, and it actually did, but, like, not nearly to the quality
Sure.
that. And he warned me of it, and he was dead right. So I
Yeah.
called him right back, and I'm like, "Dude, just set me up."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Here's what you need." Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Got it. I mean, like, next day, stuff was here. Later that afternoon, I get a phone call from him. "Did you get it? Is it good?"
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, you know, a couple weeks later, "Hey, just calling to see if everything's good with it. If you got any questions." I'm like, best customer service I've ever had with any company I've ever dealt with.
Yeah, and I listen to quite a few podcasts. I honestly, I feel like probably a lot of podcast guys, especially when they're just starting out,
Well, deer hunting guys
but they don't know a lot about this kind of stuff anyway. It's just not their forte, so they kind of start off with what they think is good, and they don't know a whole lot better,
right.
or don't know how to get
Without him, it would have
better
been
equipment.
kind of a mess.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I had a thought in my head of how I wanted to do it, but he's the one that really, like, got me all dialed in. And it even coming down to the little cords that you need and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Could
like,
you imagine the shit setup you would get if you walked into like Best Buy and said,
Oh,
"Hey,
man.
I want to start a podcast"?
Well, this
Yeah.
one's pretty expensive. It must be good.
Yeah, right. Or somebody's going to sell you the most expensive one.
well, there's a lot of different ways you can do it, and there's guys that have done it completely different that I have, which sound great.
Yeah.
There's a couple different ways you can do it. This way works good. We use a computer. There's a recorder that you can use as well. But so far we really haven't had any major problems, and for being guys that are in the trades, we were able to get some support and figure this shit out. So
For sure. Yep.
I'm excited about all the stuff we got to talk about tonight. I want to talk about backpacking up
Yeah.
into the big woods of the UP and shooting deer.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about going bow hunting and doing some scouting over in Wisconsin.
Be a good time.
The Dan Infault Scouting Workshop. We're going to recap all the winners from the Digital Deer Camp.
Yeah.
Guys from Lifestyle Lost, Dustin and Landon, are here tonight. They made the trek across the state, so we can announce all these winners. And I don't know, man. It's the 2017 archery season just officially closed, and we're rolling into 2018. And I had a couple days where I was just kind of like, I don't really care about deer hunting all that much. But it lasted like 3 or 4 days.
Did you
And
guys
now-
get out at all in January over here?
I didn't.
No.
we went down to Ohio the one weekend.
We did go down
but
to
we
Ohio.
Didn't hunt in
'Cause-
Tri-County area
Okay.
here at all.
Yeah, because of that extended season.
Right.
I actually had intentions of trying to get over here and take a doe off of some public land over here, but it just never.
Yeah, I mean,
Once it rolled into January, it just changed so much,
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but historically, just knowing when deer season ends in my own like internal clock, I felt like once January rolled over, it was like mentally kind of done.
Yeah.
I had a little deal where I had to work one weekend. We went to Ohio one weekend. I messed up my back, and then the pint night last weekend. So I didn't really have a weekend to go, and going on a weekday after work's just not possible this time of year. There's no daylight, when you get done. So
I was super impressed with how many people came out for that pint night.
Oh, it was a great turnout. Man. I'd say there was close to 100 people probably in the back of that brewery at the end.
No doubt.
There.
Usually I feel like I try to talk to almost everyone that's there. Not even possible.
Not even possible. Not.
It was kind of reminiscent for me because I actually started off shooting traditional, so being down there, that expo is actually where I bought my first recurve, and my buddy Sean that was with us, we used to shoot in the league with a ton of those guys, and so, going down there and all of a sudden seeing all those guys that we haven't seen in 4 or 5 years, because I haven't been shooting in that league for a while now, was kind of cool. So.
No, that was a fun night, man.
Yeah. I wish we could have stayed down there.
Something I haven't gotten sucked into yet. I intentionally didn't go to the trad show because I was like, if I go down there, I'm going to walk out with a bow and some arrows and have a whole new hobby that I don't intend.
Well, I went in with like $20 in my pocket because I knew it would cost me $10 to get in, and then I'd have $10 to buy.
Smart move.
You got to watch it, though. Everybody's got card readers now.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
The bums are going to get them pretty soon.
I didn't shoot any bows. I was like, I'm not picking up any bow here. I'm not doing
Smart.
it.
Yeah. That was a good time.
That was a great time. I had so much fun at the expo. Was awesome. It was so nice to just be able to have a day to walk around. My mother-in-law watched our son, so we left early in the morning and drove over there. Got a hotel room. My wife had a bunch of work to get caught up on, so she went and did that. And I went to the expo and sat at the BHA booth and met some people that came out. A couple different guys came from different parts of the state, and it was nice to see some friends and faces of the show and some people that we associate with online and have never got to meet before. And then seeing all you guys, it was an awesome weekend. It's cool, because we haven't seen you guys for months.
Yeah.
Like what? Half
summer.
Yeah, early summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Basically spring.
Yeah.
So it was cool that we got to see you guys last weekend, have a couple beers and hang out, and
Yeah.
then you're back over here this weekend.
Yeah.
Super fun. Met a lot of new people in the.
Oh yeah, the Michigan bow hunters, traditional bow hunters.
Met a lot of very cool people this weekend.
I love that expo too, because we used to go every year. Like I said, back when I was shooting traditional, like so much, but. It's kind of nice to get over there, and it's so much less like commercial, I guess, for lack of a better term.
That's the perfect word for it.
Like probably, I would say, I guarantee every one of those companies is started by a guy that just, a lot of those Boyers over there, they didn't start off as big companies,
Right.
They started off, like the Selway guys, and I still was talking to Drew with Selway, and he was like, yeah, I'm still a skilled tradesman. I'm an iron worker, but, we're just burning the midnight oil, getting quivers done and stuff like, it's just kind of the guys you run into over there, I feel like,
That's who I'm texting right now as you're talking to me is Drew.
Okay. I got to get a hold of him still. I was talking to him about a quiver, but I'm going to have him do a.
Yeah, those guys are awesome. It was funny. I called him a couple weeks ago because I was talking to Drew Youngdyke, and I asked him, when we're at the expo, who would be somebody good to do a podcast with in the traditional community? Because Drew's obviously pretty ingrained in the traditional bow hunting community more so than I am.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, the guys from Selway will be there. And I'm like, oh, they're Michigan guys too, you know? And so I got a hold of Drew through social media. We talked last week on the phone. I'm like, man, these guys are cool. They ended up, he grew up, Drew did, hunting right up by where we deer hunt.
Yeah.
Like the closest bar to our property where we've gone for years, they frequented.
Yeah.
So, dude, it was just awesome. And I spent a good portion of my night putting some beers down and drinking with Drew's dad, Andy.
Yeah.
And talking. Yeah, those guys are both diehard trades guys and run Selway as a business as well.
Yep.
And Andy's wife works at Selway and has I believe another job, and Drew's wife works full time, and they got families, and they go out to the mountains and ride friggin' customized
He's got like a 1980 dirt bike. He was like, that's how
couple
I rip
old
up in
Hondas
there. Yeah.
they had all set up for going out there.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Pretty awesome. And then
That's
they
cool.
just ride dirt bikes with stick bows and go and haul elk out on them. Like, dude, it was awesome.
That's so cool.
One of the better conversations I've had all year. And then seeing the work that those guys do in their booth at the, at the expo.
Yep.
Holy cow, man. It's
Yep.
funny. They have a big reach. Like,
oh, yeah.
out west and stuff. I listen to, like, I don't know if you guys listen at all to the Kafaru Cast, the podcast that Aaron Snyder does. And he was talking about Selway and Drew and those guys. And guys out in Oregon that have a traditional bow hunting podcast are always talking about Selway. And it's like, they're pretty renowned in the traditional community. They right here. They live right by us here in Michigan. The more and more I start looking at what they do and their products, I'm like, dude, these are like some of the nicer pieces of art that I have honestly seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, just the fact that they're such down-to-earth guys, too, and they're from right here, like, it makes it so much easier to spend your money, you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, for me, anyway.
I like spending money on at companies of guys that I honestly enjoy sitting at a bar and having a beer with nowadays.
Yep.
Like, that is really where it's at for me, man. That is what it has come down to.
Yep.
With social media and stuff, it's such a game changer. There's so many different companies and smaller companies, and you meet these people, and they have the same interests and common goals as a lot of times as you do, versus dealing with, bigger product lines and stuff where there's no face or name or voice behind the stuff. I'm really a sucker for that stuff. So
yeah, me too.
I agree.
And I have a half-ass bullshit old plastic Sentry quiver that I essentially just hold with my hand around my bow to make it look like it's affixed to it. It's for like Instagram photos, and it's just a total hack job.
Yeah.
But I don't know where it is, but it quietly holds 3 arrows, and I put that on my belt. And you can tip it back so the fletchings are sticking straight back. And so I can hold the quiver and turn it down and go like right through brush.
Right through stuff and not get hung up.
And I can, without hardly moving, I can pull an arrow right off my side,
Oh,
put it on my bow. It is a really good setup.
That's cool.
So it'll be interesting to see. I sent them a file with our graphics, and we're gonna get a couple quivers from them as well, and it'll be interesting to see how it is affixed to my bow. It'll be an adjustment for.
Are you doing the strap-on one, or are you doing the slide-on limb one?
Strap-on sounds a little more appealing.
Yeah.
So you agree then?
I had a so I don't know. My mind goes to the gutter super quick. I don't mean to get off track, but
it never gets out of the gutter around here.
We were down at my wife and I she's pregnant, so we were down at her 20-week appointment in Ann Arbor today, and she had to get one of her shots, and the nurse was in the room, and this is how immature I am. I'm 31 years old and I act like a toddler. I'm sitting in the room, and she comes in and she says, where do you want me to give you the shot? Do you want it in your arm or do you want it in your butt? And my wife said, she said, I'd rather have it in my butt. And the nurse said, I can give it to you anywhere you want it. And I just sat there for like 5 minutes and tried to avoid laughing out loud so I didn't embarrass myself. I felt like such an immature prick. Like, come on.
Yeah, no.
Pull it together, Dustin.
Yeah, but any guy that tries to pretend they're not like that is just not being real.
I'm struggling to not laugh right now just thinking about it, really.
Oh, man.
Well, she kind of really
she walked right into it.
Yeah,
I mean, she served that one up 60 miles per hour down the plate.
Right.
So...
yeah, that was a good time. The next day, it took me a little while to get feeling great. I was a little bit of a slow start. We didn't stay out too late, and you guys went to the bar afterwards.
We had plenty of time to make fun of you for going to bed so early.
Dude, I had my priorities straight.
Afterwards?
Our hotel had a bar right there, so
okay.
and there's quite a few people that were from the expo staying at the
Radisson?
hotel. We were at 4 Points, I think the hotel was called.
Sheridan, 4 Points.
4 Points. Not the nicest hotel, but
yeah, it did fine.
Nice enough.
Nice enough. You're staying
Clean
there
bed.
one night.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
I'm planning on doing a triathlon the end of June. And so I told myself if I'm staying at a hotel with a pool, I'm getting up in the morning and I'm swimming laps. It's obviously hard to get swims in when it's freaking 12 degrees out like it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm getting up and going swimming. And when we got back to the hotel, I knew where I was at. I was like, dude, if I go down to that bar, I'm only going down there with the intention of I'm not going to stand here.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep drinking. And it's already late, and I plan on getting up and working out tomorrow and then got to drive across the state. I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Yep.
And I did not even answer your guys' phone calls or nothing. It's not like me all that much, but.
Dedicated man right there.
Dude, we had a busy day. It was late. Bomber was shit-faced. Dude, he was 3 sheets to the wind.
I left when the glass shattered.
Yeah, that was like 4 or 5 hours before.
Yeah, we went the distance.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with drinking at like microbreweries for like a whole afternoon because it's not like you're sitting here sipping on PBRs.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, like I said, the end of the night, I found myself in Nick's hotel room with it was Nick, our wives, and just, I can't even think of the guy's name, some random English longbow maker. And we were just bullshitted for an hour and a half. I wish I could remember the guy's name to get a hold of him.
Random Amish guy in the corner.
If anybody listening knows the guy from England that was at the Tradbo Expo, please give me his name so we can get in touch with him, because I can't remember it for the life of me.
So he just
I feel
back.
I feel like we're writing a Craigslist misconnection post right
and
now.
I did learn a growler in English, or in England, does not mean what it means in America. Because we told him, hey, let's go back to we got a growler, let's go to the hotel room. And he kind of laughed. And he's like, okay. And we're walking, he goes, growler doesn't mean the same thing here. I'm like, well, what's growler mean? He goes, well, it means like going down on your wife.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
So going for a growler.
I always call taking a dump taking a growler.
Yeah.
But
I've never heard that either.
You've never heard that?
No.
I never heard that either.
Anyway.
Yeah, so we kept talking about how we're going back to the hotel room for have some growlers, and he's just smiling away.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll come.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I'm here, so we just gonna drink beer, or we're gonna get to growling.
When's these growlers starting up?
That's hilarious.
Boy.
Oh, it was awesome.
That's too funny.
A guy. There was a guy from, I believe it was the Michigan Longbow Association, or a group of longbow hunters in Michigan. And I can't remember the gentleman's name right now, but we were talking with him for a while. Super nice guy, and we were just kind of doing our thing, and he was doing something. I think he was talking to Drew Youngdyke, and Drew had his camera out, and he was taking a video, and this guy's real animated and real into this story, you know. And Bomber's just poo-pooed. And he, like, sneaks up behind the guy and does, like, deer antlers. And he's, like, running around behind the guy and, like, running up close to him and back and shit. I'm like, oh, my God.
All on
this
video.
could end bad, you know. This guy has no idea. And this goes on for a good 90 seconds, probably, you know.
Oh, my God.
This is at the brewery.
This is at the brewery.
Yeah,
this is a little later in the evening.
This.
Yeah. And so we're passing out business cards. Just people that we were talking with all night, whatever, and guys that were into bow hunting and shit, just introducing ourselves and whatnot. And Bomberito on Sunday is driving home in a, hungover stupor and gets a phone call from a Grand Rapids number. He's like, I don't know what the fuck this is calling me. He sends it to voicemail and checks the voicemail. He's like, hey, man, I just watched the video. Got to me from last night, and you were the guy running around in the background. That was badass. It was really funny. And give me a call and this and that. And Nick ended up calling him back, and they ended up talking for a while. And he sent the video in. We got to get it posted on the Facebook.
That's hilarious.
Shit, but
he must have given him his business card.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
And Nick had no recollection.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, how did he get his number?
No recollection.
He gave him his business card.
Better he found it on the bathroom stall. Either way.
Call Bomberito for a good time.
Right.
Exactly.
Dick Hunter podcast.
Yeah. God.
I didn't mean to bring that up again, but
that's okay.
January through September.
It's your fault.
I feel like our last podcast with Drew Youngdyke, Drew's intelligence recovered some of our stupidity.
Brought it back.
We're going to try to keep a baseline, flying right down the middle this year. So
keeping things pulled together.
Luckily, we got guys like him and Meek off. And actually, I was really pleased to find out that Chad Stewart, the DNR wildlife biologist for the state of Michigan, listens to all of our shows.
Oh, no
Does
shit.
he?
Really?
Yes.
Chad's super cool. I used to go to a lot of the NRC meetings,
Chad's super
the
cool.
National Resource Committee meetings, and I mean those are super informative for a lot of reasons. But just listening to him talk when they do kind of like their whitetail report type of thing, I don't know exactly what they call it. I don't remember, but it's just, I mean, it's just interesting to listen to him
You don't
talk.
know what small percentage of guys know like how fortunate we are to have like a guy like that
Yeah.
with his intelligence and as normal of a guy that he is to just
Yep.
genuinely sit and talk to, and his passion for deer and deer hunting and conservation and stuff, to have a guy like that in position in our state. Because like when I sat down to the podcast with him over the summer, and I actually just talked with him last week because we're going to have him back on once all the numbers come in from this season.
CWD and
Yeah, and what the-
harvest and all that.
Yeah, everything. We're going to recap the whole numbers throughout the state for the state of Michigan, and then we're going to talk about projections for 2018.
That's cool.
And we're probably going to do it like early summer,
Awesome.
But, man, when I sat down with that guy, he's just great dude.
Yeah.
Really, really enjoy talking with him. And he was just on, I don't know if you guys caught it at all, Michigan Out of Doors.
I haven't seen that
A couple
one.
weeks back, they had Chad on.
Okay.
And he did, I don't know what it was, 5-10 minute segment, and dude, he nailed it. It was awesome.
I think it was when you had him on the podcast too, when he was talking. He was kind of talking about how he got into this role, and he was like, this was kind of like the dream job. Everybody in the industry, like the Michigan job is like the holy grail.
That's what I
And
was
that
getting at.
Locked into my head, and I'm like, dude, this is a guy that like wants to be here. Like,
I lost
that's-
my train of thought, and I'm glad you said that, because that's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
He said it was kind of like the two big hitters
Yep.
were like Michigan and Texas, and Texas for the sheer volume and the amount of land. But per capita, Michigan has more deer hunters, and he's
Yep.
like, I don't think people that aren't from Michigan or people that are from Michigan realize how deep this culture is in
Yeah.
deer hunting. Like, this is it. This is the Mecca.
Yep.
And, dude, man, I've come to realize that, like, traveling around and doing different things and talking with different people, and there's something different going on here.
Oh yeah. For guys like us that grew up in Michigan, it's a perception thing, but I mean, I pity people that did not grow up with like the heritage and stuff
Yeah.
that we have here in Michigan for deer hunting. I
And
mean,
the
it's just
opportunity.
crazy. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right? It's like it seems so blind because we're not a big buck state. Yeah, we're not like the biggest of big buck states. There's still big bucks. You can get them. It's not going to happen every year. But, man, just the opportunity with the public land and the scenery and the stuff that we have available. And, I don't know, we have a healthy deer herd and sustained numbers. And you can go out every year and kill quite a few deer. I mean, if you love
want
to deer
to.
hunt, you can
Yep.
travel around. You can get a bunch of tags. You can do a whole lot of deer hunting.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about a little bit before we started recording and stuff, was about that. And I don't care. You could pay me as much as you wanted, or you could hand me a huge buck and I would still hunt in Michigan every year. I mean, it would never change. It's just
Right.
it's just one of those things.
I agree.
And if you're putting your success on how yeah, I mean, we all like shooting big deer and stuff like that, but it's all about setting your perception.
And I'm certain
to-
that if we had grew up in Wisconsin or maybe Ohio, it's a
Different
definitely
story.
it's certain a part of the
Yeah.
fact that it's home for us,
Yep.
right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
And I don't mean to like discredit any of the other states and
No.
say they're not as passionate as deer hunting,
No.
because like Wisconsin's, those guys are pretty tore up with deer hunting. They're
In
pretty-
Pennsylvania, I mean, those guys are hardcore deer
Yeah,
hunters too.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's right up there, I think, isn't
Well,
it?
all over. You
Yeah.
see on
Yeah.
the guys on Facebook and Instagram, their deer hunters are everywhere. Ginger Ninja,
I love
guys
Dude.
familiar with that gentleman? He's New York.
Okay.
Ginger
New
Ninja
York's
on
a big
Instagram.
deer hunting
Yeah.
state.
Dude, he's one of the funnier follows on
he?
Instagram if you're into deer hunting.
All right. Yeah, but that was kind of my point. It's like kind of your home turf. It's like it doesn't matter what kind of opportunities you have. You're still always going to hunt your home turf. It's just kind of one of those
Right.
things,
And I like the challenge here.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you really get your hands dirty to get on the big. You're not. I mean, it happens, right? The guy that goes hunting once all year, walks out and sits up against a tree and shoots a 30-point buck.
Did you see the guy this year that shot the one with his crossbow?
No.
Where was that at? I can't remember where that was at. Some guy.
So before we get too far, this Ginger Ninja, is there numbers behind after his name?
Probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to
You'd
look.
know him if you found him. Got a big red beard,
So it's probably Jinja, like Ginga.
like a ginger.
Okay, yeah.
Jinja.
Yeah.
Ginger Ninja.
Give me a second here.
It's great radio.
Yeah, you guys.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Jinja,
You may proceed.
Jinja Ninja 1369.
Okay, there you go. I don't even
He's
know what I was talking about
he's
now.
a newbie deer hunter. Started deer
Okay.
hunting this year,
Sweet.
and he's written in a couple times, and he listens to the show, and he's a funny fellow on
That's
Instagram.
awesome.
And yeah, so he listens. I think he's listening to all the deer hunting podcasts and just crushing the information and getting
Okay.
out deer hunting. And
All right.
I think he shot a pig this year. I don't think he shot a deer. I'm not sure.
Oh, shout out to Ted, too, for driving down just to come to the pint night.
Ted Otten.
Ted Otten.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Ted today.
He ain't here, Ted. Ted, they ain't here.
I love Ted.
No, man, it was cool getting to talk to him.
Yeah, I was chatting with him today actually about turkey hunting.
Yeah.
So he's just jumping into the turkey hunting mix this year and
Did you meet
Started-
Justin?
popping questions my way.
You met him before I was at the expo, I think. I had talked to Justin the night before for a little bit, but
Yeah.
he was there and gone before I'd ever got to Kalamazoo, I think.
Like Justin Whole Eyes, got quite the personality. He's a woodsman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Camo digs. Smooth bore shotgun with slugs.
Knuckle pucking it.
That's what I hung
Yep.
with.
He's like, they're going to be 50 yards if I can see him anyways.
Yeah. Hey.
He's a cool guy. Yeah, it was cool to see people that we've been messaging back and forth with for a while. That was
Yeah.
kind of the first time
Yeah,
that
that's
we
pretty
did
awesome.
anything like this.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing more of that stuff throughout the year, going to things like that. We're never going to be able to travel too far, obviously, with the family and stuff, but
Yeah.
some things. And I was thinking about maybe this spring getting with you guys and maybe BHA, do a big collaboration and do some type of marsh/river cleanup over here on the east side
Hey man.
in the flats area, and
Dustin and I were just kinda
like a
talking about
pint
that.
night. BHA, like a pint night. And
That'd be awesome.
a big collaboration.
One of the things we've been talking. Well, I mean, you came to the river recovery we did last year, where it was actually like a river cleanup.
Right.
But we're hoping to expand on those a little bit. And one of the things we even talked about too was like, just with BHA and stuff, trying to trigger that in other places. So I'm totally down for that.
Yeah.
Anything that's going to clean that type of stuff up, we could. I mean, I know we could pull people together that would come out and do that kind
yeah.
of stuff.
Public
so.
land cleanup, maybe,
Yeah.
I think it'd be
get
good
some
for
of the trash out of
Well,
it.
we're gonna canoe around and paddleboat around and hang out with a bunch of outdoorsmen for the day,
Yeah.
pick up trash, really feel good about it, meet some cool people,
Yep.
and then we're all gonna get together and have beers.
Yep.
I
and
think it'd
eat
be
some
good
food.
to get a little bit of East Side love from BHA and stuff
Heck yeah,
over
man.
here too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
It's overlooked over here, I feel like.
passionate
Yeah.
hunters in this area that
Yep.
love public
Yep.
land and public waterways and whatnot. So I
Yeah.
think it'd be a pretty good turnout. Really.
I think you're pretty spot on. You know where we could even maybe do it? The boatyard.
Yeah,
Really.
they would probably be down for
It's
it.
close to a hotel. That guy's super cool.
Yeah,
It's a cool place.
it's a legit little bar.
And it's not far from where we would be out in the flats. Because that's the problem if we do something out in the flats. There's nowhere to stay out there. You can't go to a bar and everybody get drunk and not have anywhere
And
to
then drive
safely.
boats back
Right.
or
Well,
whatever.
that's what everybody does
Did you say
around
safe
here.
Yeah, no, I
drive-
know,
Safely
but yeah.
drive back.
That's
Yeah.
how you get your boater safety certificate.
Blowing this. Yep. He's over. Send him on his way.
Mhm.
No, they've cracked down. I mean, shit, when we were growing up, that's all that everybody did. They go on the boat, get hammered, drive all over the place. But they've really cracked down
Oh,
on it,
yeah,
which
I
is
bet.
necessary. People die every
Yeah.
year. It gets pretty crazy around here.
Yeah.
It gets pretty crazy, like around 4th of July weekend and
Oh, I
whatnot.
bet.
It's
I
a
can only
complete zoo.
imagine.
You'll have a guy in a walleye boat trolling down the river, with 50 boats going each and every way, and then a guy on a 38-foot cigarette going 110.
Hauling,
Well, and then
just
you're in
screaming.
Cutting
shipping
through
channels,
everybody.
too, with freighters going by and
Dude,
whatnot,
it's
you know,
pretty
so.
chaos. The
Yeah.
good thing
It was
is,
pretty eye-opening.
I mean, we saw a
walleye
bit of
fishing
that,
out
yeah,
there.
when we were out there.
the good thing about it is most of the people that occupy this side of the lake over here, where the
Mhm.
delta is, a lot of the city people stay on the other side of the lake.
Oh, right.
The people that are on this side of the lake kind of grew up on the side of the lake, and it's more, there's a lot heavier percentage of like sportsmen and fishermen and people that have.
Well, it's
they're
your
doing.
backyard. You're going to know your backyard
That's
better.
the thing. That's exactly, you know, you can go out there under starlight and drive full speed through the whole thing, cut through little canals and shit.
I
You
think-
just know where you're going.
I think probably ethically it's a little different, too,
That's it.
you know?
Yeah, if you're not from a place, you're like,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But if you're from there,
You kind of care a little
accountability,
more. Yep, no doubt.
and you just kind of know how everybody else operates, you know.
Sure.
But do the boat launches, sit in the boat launches 4th of July weekend when people are coming in off the boats around 6 o'clock at night, and you just see people falling out of boats and
Oh,
just,
yeah.
Imagine.
it's a mess.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
It sounds like a good time.
There's a lot of partying that goes on out in
Yeah.
these waterways. There's
Yeah, I bet.
a couple select spots where people go where you wouldn't find a larger group volume of people anywhere drinking, right?
I
Right.
can't imagine where you would.
No, they set world records for the amount of boats that have been tied off together with people out here partying.
Unreal.
Yeah,
I've seen
miles,
that.
miles long of boats
That's
tied
crazy.
up, and people are just getting after it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Luckily, I'm usually pretty busy doing deer hunting things nowadays, and I avoid those. But I had my day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
What's next on our list
No
before we
judgment.
incriminate ourselves too much?
Yeah.
Do we want to get to? Do you have a plan or a format for
Somewhat.
this giveaway? These giveaways. What are we doing here?
First come, first serve. So first person to knock on the Deer
Yeah.
Hunter Podcast studio door.
Yeah, I
Just
think
messing
that's good.
around.
Let's just shoot out the address on
The
Facebook Live.
the pizza guy probably would have taken some prizes.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
We just had pizza delivered by
Yeah.
Jets, and the guy was a deer hunter, shot a big old buck.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What'd he say?
224 fully dressed.
Yeah. What did he say? There was some type of maybe
And
legal
he said
stipulation.
he shot it. He said he shot it in Macomb County, in a urban area, and then he found out where he was hunting in Macomb County. There was no deer hunting allowed.
Oh
And
no!
he said that's why the deer was so big.
Did he get in trouble?
No,
Didn't sound
I don't
like
think
it.
he ever told
Yeah,
me.
it didn't sound like it.
Oh, okay.
No,
well,
we
he
do-
probably should keep his mouth shut about that.
We do have
I don't
a
know
format.
his
I'm gonna
name, and I
whip it
can't
up here
remember what he
real quick.
looked like.
And we gave him a business card, so he's probably listening to this. Don't worry, dude. Your secret's safe with us.
Yeah.
We won't tell anybody.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's
The
other
worst part is I told him we wouldn't.
there's other people that work for Jets that deliver pizzas that have
That
been in
also
that
hunt.
exact same scenario.
Oh, I'm
so.
sure. Yeah. Yeah, no, we've got a little bit of a format. But I mean, I couldn't believe how successful the digital deer camp was this year either.
Yeah.
But you know,
Way
last
bigger
year was
than last
the
year.
first year we did it, and it was kind of marginal in terms of entries, but our reach wasn't that great either. And we learned a lot of things from that. We learned a lot from a couple of the other contests that we did, which helped us a lot. And then partnering up with you guys for it, just getting it out there to people and letting them know what it was. I mean, we had conversed a lot, you know, about how we wanted to do it and making sure that it stayed.
Yeah,
It's
real quick for people that aren't familiar with what it is and what we did. So this is something that you guys started on your own a year ago, right?
Yep.
right.
So 2016 hunting season. Was that
Yep.
the first year that
Yeah.
you guys did it?
It was, and the main goal behind like doing any of these contests is really to kind of try and just build up the hunting community and just create really a community feel, you know.
Yeah.
I
Meet
need
people,
we
talk
got
to
to
people.
backtrack even a little bit more because we have a lot of new listeners since you guys were on.
Okay.
Like maybe just a quick Cliff Notes introduction of who you guys are, what you do.
Yeah. So, Dustin and I are cousins. Good friends, obviously, too.
Lovers.
So, yeah, lovers on the side.
Dude,
we can
I
slip
thought we weren't
away.
incriminating each
And we
other.
can slip away for
I
a
thought
night.
this was a safe zone.
Yes. No, this is a very unsafe space.
But, yeah, hunt and fish together all the time. And started our officially didn't start an LLC. We kind of started a Facebook page and stuff back 2015
Yeah,
sometime. I think it was March of last year we were officially started as a LLC, got our LLC as a company. At first we were, just kind of had a social media page and meeting people, talking to people, talking about hunting and fishing and why we love it and conservation and the issues we care about. And then we started an online store. So we've got T-shirts, hats, some coffee mugs and things like that on there right now. And this is completely a side project for us. So we both have full-time jobs. We're both hard at work most of the day. So
You're
we're
hard
not
at work. I'm sorry.
most of the most of the day.
They're not working hard. They're not.
I do not feel bad about how I felt at the doctor's office anymore.
They're not working
I told
hard. They're
you.
just hard at work. Sorry.
Get fired for
Sorry.
that stuff.
Sorry. You started it.
I know.
Really?
I know. I apologize.
The point of actually starting the company wasn't because we wanted to make money, but conservation is something we both really care about. And, I have a great job, but it's just not really fulfilling from what I care about standpoint. And I think Dustin feels the same way. So the whole point of the company is to raise money and awareness for conservation for groups like BHA and TRCP. And we donate right now all of our profits back, which is, at this point, not a lot, but we hope that someday we're going to grow to a point we can become a legitimate company that funnels a lot of money to the companies that fight for what
Pretty
we
crazy.
really care about.
It's pretty awesome that you guys do that.
Yeah, it's
Did you argue him with it like a little bit? Were you like, do you want to maybe just go like 50% of the profits?
Well, I think
honestly, it didn't even start. It didn't even really start out that way. Really, like he was saying, it started out with our social media pages, and the goal was to just try and sort of engage with people and spread the good word,
Make
and
people aware.
Yeah, and just
because I know as a hunter growing up, I grew up hunting and fishing, and there's just a lot about conservation and important issues that I just had no idea about. And I think there's a lot of people that are that way. They're not into it for the conservation side, but as you get into it more and you learn more about it, it becomes more and more important.
But unifying people to that sense too. I mean, we all see for whatever reason, it seems like the outdoor world in the industry, and not even just the industry, but outdoorsmen in general, it's so easy for people to start lashing out at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody shoots a big buck, and then there's a ton of people that want to dog on somebody for shooting a big deer or whatever, or, downgrade them for what they did shoot if they're shooting a small deer on the flip side of that. And, that was the kind of stuff we were sort of trying to maybe break a little bit of a barrier with. Not that we're, anybody really in the grand scheme of things, but if we could wrap people into good conversation and promoting that sort of thing, that was kind of what we were looking to do.
Before we get too far away from it, because you're talking about people not knowing about conservation and whatnot, just wanted to tip everybody off. In Wisconsin right now, there's a couple bills. I don't know the numbers offhand, but if you go on Facebook and look up the Wisconsin chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, there's a big rundown what's going on right now, and it's about damming public waterways and them becoming not accessible to the public anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So hop on the BHA page for Wisconsin, give a read to that if you're in Wisconsin, and call your representatives, because there's a couple very important
and
bills
you don't have to
on
live
the
in
table.
Wisconsin to write in and
It's
tell
true.
people.
Yeah,
about it.
but
Your voice
Wisconsin,
still counts.
when the Wisconsin people get together, I think especially, they just opened their BHA chapter, right?
Right.
Wisconsin.
Dude, we're going to have to get our shit together to stay above them and keep up with them with numbers, because those guys are going to go wild.
Yeah.
They are
animals,
passionate, and their Wisconsin public lands are beautiful. I had the opportunity this spring, and we're all going to have the opportunity here in the next month to go out on a bunch of public land with Dan and Fault, and
that's going to be so much fun.
you can see why those people love to deer hunt over there.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and pull that information up right now so we can.
Yeah, I can
feed
look
that
it up
to-
while you guys are talking a little more.
That's
Here.
awesome. We're going to have, I think this week, and we're having some other guests in tomorrow night, actually, Pat and Amber Casey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
They're coming over tomorrow night. They're going to do the podcast. They're getting a hotel over here for the night. We're going to go out to dinner and have some drinks and stuff. So
Hell yeah.
they're going to be one of the next upcoming episodes. And then my my friend Sam Ubel,
Yep.
who does Chase Nation, lives
Yeah.
over in Wisconsin. He's a huge public land deer hunter, and he called me this evening. We were talking while I was getting the fire going and stuff, and we were actually on the phone for almost an hour just talking about deer hunting, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And that guy's a real passionate deer hunter. He's just he's gonna be writing for this year for Legendary Whitetail.
Okay.
He's gonna be doing a couple articles a month
Very cool.
for them. Plus, he's doing the whole Chase Nation video production. And I before I got off the phone with him, I just said, hey, you know, I never asked you this, but do you know about BHA, Backcountry Hunters and Anglers? He's like, I might have seen a post about it or something
No
at some
kidding.
point in time, but no, what is it really?
No kidding.
They just opened a chapter. I mean, Wisconsin hasn't had a chapter.
Right.
They
See-
just got a chapter. You know what I mean? But here's just goes to show, right? Even
Right.
those guys reach every day. There's, for all the people that do know, there's more that don't,
Yeah.
right? And it goes back to what you guys were just talking about. You would think a guy like that would know for sure, but he's a busy guy,
Yeah.
and it just hasn't gotten him yet. And you know what? I hung up the phone with him, and he messaged me. He's like, what was it? So he's like, after I told him about it, he's like, on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. So the bill numbers are AB 599, SB 506. Prevents the DNR from declaring a stream a navigable waterway if a public landowner has dammed the stream. So if they just decide to throw a bunch of shitty logs in the stream and whatnot, the DNR can't go in there and declare it a navigable stream and give public access to it.
Boy,
Are
oh
you
boy.
kidding me?
Better know about that one, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Seriously.
So we can
So-
call too.
Yep. Sounds like just call whatever representative and tell them no.
Yeah, I've written
Yeah.
into
What
several other
were?
ones
Can you
on other
repeat
states.
the?
It was AB 599 and SB 506.
Where's the best place that people could go to find more information on those? Where are you reading
if
that
you
from?
go to Wisconsin, if you just go on Facebook and search Wisconsin chapter of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, it'll pop right up, and they have a post right
Nice.
on there.
I'm excited to see. You know, they did their launch a couple weeks ago, and I know Doug Dern was a guest
Yeah.
speaker there, and they said that was, it was either there or somewhere else, but they just, one of these places just had their biggest number of turnout for like BHA members at some type of meetup like that. You know,
Mhm.
obviously not like the Rendezvous. There's
Right.
tens of thousands of people there at the Rendezvous.
Yeah.
Am I misspoken? Is it thousands or tens of thousands?
I don't know. I would
I'm not
imagine it's
sure.
pretty big.
That's in
I know
Missoula
it's a lot.
Yeah.
this spring.
Yep.
Yeah.
April.
I think it's cool to see those guys getting, and I know Meekoff said don't really say anything about it till it's official, but I'm gonna leak it that probably Ohio's getting a chapter
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah, that's super
Sorry,
awesome.
Jason. I'm too excited. I couldn't contain
It was
myself.
Mason told you that.
Mason
Mason
Meekoff.
Meekoff. I'm sorry.
Use its alias.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
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 So discreet.
But yeah, it's cool.
Yep.
Well, shit, that's how we got. That's funny. That's
Yeah,
kind of
it
how
is,
we
yeah.
met you guys
Jason.
through
Yeah,
BHA.
Jason. Yeah,
Absolutely
Jason.
how I met you guys.
That's what I was telling to
Yeah.
people is like, man, this is a great network. If you're in the outdoor industry and you're into hunting and fishing and you're into the sense of community,
Yeah.
you really, that's a great
Yeah.
group to be
Yeah, because
invested in.
like I sound surprised as if, oh, somebody hasn't heard of Backcountry Hunters and Anglers, but
That's how you feel.
I've
'cause-
been a member for a year now, so it's not like, and I'd heard about it a little bit because I listen to Meat Eater podcasts, and I heard about it on there, and I'd see stuff and be like, wow, that's a great organization. I should join that. And then, you know, you do one thing and then leaves the next,
Right.
and you don't do it. And then started talking to Jason because they were doing that film tour, and I was like, well, we'll give you guys some T-shirts or something for a giveaway, and that's kind of how it all started.
Yeah.
Met a
Yep.
ton. I mean, if you guys live in any state that has a chapter, get on Facebook, find the groups, figure out when they're having pint nights, because it's, you know, a lot of my friends don't hunt. You know, they just aren't into it, and it's just so nice to go hang out with a bunch of guys
Oh,
that like
everybody
think the
just
same way and
like-minded
talk
people,
about the
you
same
know?
things.
Great.
And
The
Mhm.
stories flying around that pint night last weekend were
oh god,
priceless.
Well, shoot, Pat and Amber.
That's
you know,
how I met Amber.
last year-
I haven't even met Pat yet. I'm so excited that those guys are coming over here.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Last year at Total Archery Challenge, we were up there, and I was sitting up by the kind of like the warm up 3D range up there, and they were up there with a couple other people, and they happened to ask me about the arrows I had in my quiver, and we started chatting, and I didn't even remember their names when I left there, and then all of a sudden we go to the pint night after the River Recovery in Lowell, and they're there, and I'm like, hey, don't we know each other? They're like, oh yeah, backcountry hunters and anglers, this and that, so it's just like you run into people all over the place,
great.
and once you're kind of
time
thinking about that stuff, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it spread and the community grow and this whole community grow, your guys' community grow. The digital deer camp thing was just like you were saying. We got way off topic, but
you start talking about BHA and it's hard to stop.
But the whole digital deer camp, this year, like, God, that was awesome, and I'm like looking forward to. I can see it. It has like 100% staying power.
Yeah.
Like, it's here long term.
Yeah.
It's going to be so crazy to look back,
I mean, if you look at the growth of it, too, I'm making this up, but I have to think this is a safe number. It would probably, in terms of just people that entered, not just, a lot of people participate in other ways because they're following along and everything, but I'd have to say it easily doubled in size from last year.
Oh, more than
maybe
doubled.
Tripled.
I think I don't know that we even had 50 total entries last year, which we didn't expect a ton, but this year, just with the reach, with just networking and with you guys involved and getting it in people's ears and stuff like that, it's, we had a couple hundred entries this year, which was just, it blew it out of the water.
right?
So it makes it tough because you kind of want to give everybody something, because, like we talked about, the huge thing with this was, what'd you grow up watching? Q1 buck pull, right?
Yeah.
And the buck pull is all about how big your deer is. So if your rack ain't big, you didn't shoot anything worthwhile. And I always dislike that because it's just there's so much more to it, and so
I agree.
that's why with the deer camp we were trying to just be super inclusive. And
if you're sad you didn't win anything, hunt harder next year. I'm not going to be so easy.
While
you can win this thing. It's doable.
It's easy for the guy with 2 bucks sitting on the table over here.
Yeah, I'm too bad I'm like disqualified in some way, shape, or form.
Glad you got pizza before the podcast because my tag soup didn't
taste too good. A little bit dry.
While we're on the topic of not winning, we had one guy that was a little upset about not being a finalist, and
this guy actually messaged in.
Oh, he got our phone number, and he texted Dustin and I both about it several times. It was tough. We had hundreds of entries, so picking 20 dudes for the dudes category was tough, and one buck wasn't necessarily better than the other, but we got to narrow it down a little bit. And
so what you're saying is this guy is just clamoring for a participation.
Yeah, he was really
kind of an attention whore.
Well,
if you ask me,
maybe. So long story short, we decided we're going to have one more prize, and it's going to be the most improved award. And so this guy who won this is going to get.
So most improved. So like last year he didn't do so good. This year he did a little bit better.
I think so, yeah. It's one of those awards that people, they need to get something, and you don't want it to say like it's a participation award because that's for nothing. So like at least he's improved.
Most improved selfie game award.
Yeah, I'd say he did improve.
Yeah, exactly.
He really did.
So and he's a good hunter. I've talked to him a few times and whatnot. So
did he just start?
No, I don't think so. He's been hunting a long time, but
really?
We
okay. I don't know why I thought that.
Just he doesn't usually get anything, I don't think. So what we're gonna do? Somebody donated a stick bow. Oh. With arrows. Doesn't just field tips though.
I wish we would have brought it so we could have shown it because it's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, we're videotaping.
It really is
too.
pretty awesome.
But this will be if you're listening to this, you'll be listening to on YouTube because we'll hopefully put it out a day before, but that might not potentially be the case. But this will be this will be on YouTube to view.
So a lot of the prizes were either random or they were voted on. So we didn't, necessarily pick the end winner of any category. But this one, Dustin and I said, I know who we got to give this to.
So you guys hand-selected this guy.
Yeah, this is hand-selected.
Here, he kind of selected himself, huh?
Well, yeah.
A little bit. But you know what? Squeaky wheel gets the grease, right?
It really does. So should we just throw that one out there right now? Or should we wait until after
No,
let's get
Should
it
we
out
create
there.
Okay.
Let's.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and tell them. I told the whole story on what it's about. You go ahead and tell who won the stick bow.
Okay. Mason Nikoff, congratulations on winning the stick bow, man.
Good job.
Good
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
That's awesome.
I'm really impressed with your dedication this year.
Yeah, you put in the work.
From a greenhorn, you're learning quickly.
A for effort.
For effort. But legitimately, we do have a stick bow with arrows that was donated, and we are going to send it to you. So
Yep.
I can't remember the name of it, to be honest with you, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome.
Get it out next week.
His name is Jason Meekoff.
Yeah.
You can find him on Facebook. He's the Upper Great Lakes Regional Coordinator for Backcountry Hunters and Anglers.
Formerly the Michigan chapter president.
He might have just started hunting. I'm not
I
sure.
know, how did he get so high up in these titles? He's just so
it's
passionate.
politics.
Yeah.
It's about who you know, not what you know.
If you don't know Jason, go to Facebook and give him a follow. He's also on Instagram at meekoff.j,
I don't know.
something of that
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
And
Great guy, though.
Yeah.
So that was prize number 1. Congratulations.
Good job, Jason. That's
Get
awesome.
a hold of us
Yeah.
to claim your prize. We'll need
No,
your address
yeah,
and we'll
it's-
ship it out to you.
It's funny, I was almost thinking in my head before you guys announced who it was that I was kind of right on the same page with you. Like he really did put a lot of effort in this year, and his 2017 season looked a lot better than his 2016 season. And selfie game strong.
Oh,
Selfie
it's
game
good.
way strong.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks good out there in the tree stand.
Looks good everywhere. He's a handsome dude.
Congratulations, Meekoff.
Moving on.
Moving on. So yeah, like I started out 20 minutes ago, I was telling you guys about how successful the digital deer camp was, and no, it was really awesome this year, and it's super humbling to see so many people like getting into it. And before we really get into anything, I mean, I really want to just thank all the people that stepped up, and you guys helped a ton with people but it's really cool to see all the people that kind of like pulled together and thought it was such a great idea, and then kind of gave submitted prizes that we were able to donate out to
Do you have
winners.
a list of companies
I
that
do.
all did? I mean, do you have a plan like to get to it, or you want to say now and we'll say them again at the end? Or
we'll probably just kind of talk about the company when we announce the prize, because we'll say, oh, this person won this prize from this company. This is
see,
what it
these are
is.
details that are usually hatched out before the show.
I know.
It's cool. We're just flying by the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Literally, I mean, you guys seen it. I was working and doing phone calls and
Same
everything
here.
until
We're running all over.
9 o'clock.
Yep.
He's like, I'm running late. I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
show up yet. I
Yeah.
won't even be at my own house when you
Right.
get there. Make yourself at home.
Yep. So
We did.
no, yeah, we had a ton of awesome prizes donated for the category winners. We had, like I said, we had a couple hundred entries this year, which made it really kind of interesting to try and select people for any given category. Which, if you feel like you got a little bit snubbed, I apologize. We tried to do everything as fair as possible, so it was all random number generator. Jason Meekoff,
Except for Jason's.
he did win though, so it's
Yeah.
okay.
But yeah, we try. Honestly, it does take a lot of work to do this, and we try really hard. But we realize we are far from perfect in running these things. So just bear with us, and hopefully we can fine tune it in the future.
Yeah. So what we did was we actually broke 3 main categories down, and then we wanted like everybody that participated, and part of it was for email subscribers too, because we wanted to just make sure everyone was included, even if you didn't harvest a deer.
Yeah.
So we broke it down into 3 main categories. We had the men's category, the women's category, and the youth under 18. And I want to point out real quick too, I was super impressed. We had just shy of 4,000 people actually voted
Oh, wow.
for those 3 categories, and the amount of women that received votes or had people show up to vote was double what it was for the men's. And we had a ton of
Really?
women's entries too, and
Which means people scrolled past the men's didn't vote.
no, but what I think is
Was that a woman with a deer?
no, but what I think is super cool about that is just like seeing that, because normally you would totally expect the opposite, right?
I would.
You'd think something like this is like an all men's type of deal,
Right.
and that sort of thing, and
Well,
it
that's
wasn't
actually
that way,
why
so.
we had to split the categories up, because last year we realized that the men had no chance in winning against the women.
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
it turned out that way. But so we broke it down into the 3 categories: the men's category, the women's category, and the youth under 18. And the men's and women's categories actually all carried the same prize packages, which is like, I mean, to be honest with you, if we wouldn't have already announced this, I would have just kept all this shit for myself because it's that sweet. The men's and women's top winner will receive an Exodus trail camera, a shirt, and a decal. And if you guys that are listening to the Deer Hunter podcast, you've heard us talk about, you've heard them talk about Exodus and the company that they are and the product that they've gotten. It's just unbelievable. And then
they're Lift 2s is what they are.
Lift 2s.
Yep.
So, and then additionally, the men's and women's is also going to get a custom hybrid grunt call from Timber Freak Game Calls. I use a custom hybrid grunter. Kevin used one this year.
Right here.
Yep, they're pretty awesome. It's a family-owned business. Give them a rip.
That'd get me right up out of my bedding area.
Yeah.
That big one back there, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
They're
He's just celebrating now.
Yeah, dude. I love this thing.
Yeah.
It's sweet.
Yeah, it is.
And it sounds,
they're nice calls.
I mean, it's way throatier than a...
Yeah. That's what I
more,
like about it,
more
too.
There, for sure.
Yeah. So we've got a few different custom hybrid grunters, which are really awesome. We're going to get those out to you, too. The third prize in that package is a Titanium Archery Products bow stabilizer. That's another one, too, that, I picked one up this year for my bow, and I was blown away. I was kind of using a low-end stabilizer for a while, and I didn't really put a lot of thought into it, but I picked up one of those tap stabs and put it on my bow, and it seriously made a difference this year. I mean, I really couldn't believe it.
Well,
so.
Yeah.
And I always thought the same. Like, stabilizers are stabilizers. It's just weight on your bow.
Mm-hmm.
Then I listened to your podcast, and you started getting into the science about how he designed baseball bats. And
Sam's
like, I was
Yeah,
like,
that guy's,
Dude,
man, that's a
he
real
is.
deal.
I was
He's
like, okay.
emotionally invested in
He hit me with some
stabilization of
science.
archery equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
So the 3 top prizes in those categories are the Exodus Lift 2 camera, the shirt, and the decal from Exodus, the Timber Freak Game Calls Hybrid Custom Grunt, and the Titanium Archery Products bow stabilizer. And then additionally in those packages, we're throwing in one of the digital deer camp
Shirts.
2017 shirts. And then we've got Lifestyle Lost leather patch hats. So these are pretty solid patch hats. They're really nice snapback hat with a really cool leather patch on it with our logo burned into it. So we're going to send those out too.
Nice.
And while I'm on the topic, shout out to Shannon for doing the digital deer camp logo. Man, that turned out better than I could have imagined. She killed that.
I liked it a whole lot,
Yeah,
too,
man, it was so sweet.
I know.
So, yeah.
Because when we were talking, Dustin and I were talking about it, and we're like, is that like too much to try to explain? I'm like, I don't know. We'll just tell her and see if she can do it. And then we got it, and we're like, yeah, that's just about perfect.
Yeah, dude, that was
Well,
so
it's
freaking
cool
sweet.
too because we're sitting there on the couch and she's like, "What's a buck pole look like?" And I'm like, "Go to Google Images." I'm like, "That one sucks. That one sucks. That one sucks." I'm like, "That one's badass."
Yep.
She's like, "All right, I got that." And then she's putting some deer up there. I'm like, "That deer looks awesome. That deer looks awesome." I don't know what that is. That's not a deer. It's like a red stag or something,
Yeah.
But so in the deer hunting world, she works awesome as a designer because
Yeah.
I've been deer hunting for 20 years and she's a good graphic designer.
Yeah, she is. So those shirts are super awesome. If anybody's interested in picking one of those up, we'll probably run a promotional code on them after today for a little while. If people want to pick up a digital deer camp shirt that was involved in the deer camp, or if you just want one because the logo's badass.
Tell you what, if anybody wants a discount code and we forget to post one, shoot us a message and remind us, and we'll get you 25% off discount code for
Awesome.
Yeah.
anything you want to buy.
And I'll add to that too. My wife is getting ready to start a children's clothing line for like merino base layers for younger children. They're going to be her hopes, and so far she's been testing some products with our son. They're going to be higher end than what's available for kids right now.
Right.
They're going to be a little more of an expensive garment, but it's going to be more of an investment. They're made in a manner that the kids have a long growth period where they can be in them, and they can be worn as pajamas or running around the house. and then you just put the kids' clothes on over them, and then when kids come home from the end of the day, kids get dirty as hell, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the whole antimicrobial thing of merino
does not
with
stink.
kids
Yeah.
makes the most sense in the world.
Yeah.
But it's expensive to manufacture, so
Sure.
there is people that are doing it, but hers is more for just kids
Right.
and young kids up through, like, I guess a lot of kids probably don't get into that stuff and then till they get 10, 12, a little older in age. But, our generation
Right.
of parents that are doing stuff outdoors with their kids right now, and we know we have real good gear. You found it a problem, right?
Oh yeah, I got a 5-year-old daughter, and finding stuff like a pair of boots to take her out ice fishing with me. It's like insulting what they sell as like kids outdoor.
Yeah, you
gear.
wonder why their feet get cold. Like,
That'll legitimately keep them warm, dry,
Yeah.
and comfortable.
And I
yeah.
mean, I'm willing to pay some extra money to get my kids sitting out in the ice shanty with me comfortable, and it's not possible.
Lacrosse, if you're listening to this,
Right.
get on some kids' footwear.
Right.
What I was getting at is if anybody listens to this and they do have little kids and they like to have them outside, go to my wife's website. It's littlestsidekick.com or Littlest Sidekick Outfitters, and she's on Instagram and Facebook. You can find all her stuff through mine, and she's working hard right now. She wants to actually launch a product line this spring.
Nice.
So she's really been going hard trying to figure out how to fund it and whatnot, and she's going to actually do like a Kickstarter.
Awesome.
And I think it's a great thing that she's doing for the outdoors and little kids and
Yeah.
stuff. That's why we're going to Colorado this summer, is to go to the outdoor retailer
Okay.
in Denver. And it's something that's going to be coming here this spring, and I know a lot of people that listen to this have little kids, so it might be
Yeah.
something that you might be interested in.
Yeah. I've been following her on Facebook for a while, too. So if anybody wants to go and follow Littlest Sidekick on Facebook, I kind of like the post updates, and
Bunch of pictures
it's
of
awesome.
mine.
I can't wait for that stuff to come out because I got my first kid on the way, so I'm pretty jacked up.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people, now Mark Kenyon just had a kid.
Yep.
Like a lot of people in the outdoor space that have young kids, I could see them benefiting from it. I mean, since
doubt.
we've got those things, it's like, especially when it's cold out, whatever, you just throw it on underneath the kids'
Right.
clothes. And
Right.
Gunner likes to be outside this time of year,
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just hard to find good
Yeah, it's-
quality garments for outdoor wear for little kids.
Right. You spend 15 minutes getting them dressed so they can be outside for 5 minutes.
Yeah, no
It's
kidding.
like
Yeah.
complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Right. And it comes at, nobody wants to spend a bunch of money on clothes that a kid's going to outgrow in 6 months, right?
Exactly.
So part of that, her whole thing is, how do you solve that? Well, you have an incentive for like lightly used garments to have a resale value through the website,
yeah.
and she's building a website where basically people can track the story of the garment. Like kids went on a hike in this mountain or whatever, and they can write like a little post or whatever, and this whole thing will follow this garment around. You'll be able to see
Dude,
the
that
trail
is
of it.
sweet.
That's really unique.
That's
Yeah.
an awesome idea.
Yeah, she's
I love
been
it.
going hard on it for a while working a full-time job.
Right.
And she listens to my podcast, so thanks, loving wife.
Where would we be without him, right?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have a business card
Yeah. True.
or a logo
we wouldn't-
or
Is that all,
or
Kevin?
any artwork on my if you're looking on iTunes and you see our logo, that's all. We're all that.
We would not be
Or-
giving away a digital deer camp shirt without Shannon.
Or a
Yeah.
child.
or that. Or that.
That too.
Oh, man. That's too awesome. So should we jump back into these categories here?
Yeah.
Let's get
Sorry.
this knocked
Did
out.
we
No, it's good.
work through
It's
what
gonna be
all
another one where
they're
Drew's gonna be
getting?
giving us the stink eye. We're only at an hour.
Hey, you guys are all going fishing with me in the morning.
We're
so
Yeah,
all
we're all in the same boat.
We're
We're in the
all
same
in the
boat.
same boat. We're getting up at what? I think we probably
Yeah.
gotta get up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Early.
Have some coffee, and we're hitting
Yeah.
hard water in
So
the
you're
morning for
not you're
some
not
perch.
working tomorrow?
No, I'm working.
You are.
I'm gonna get you guys out there, get you set up, and I'm gonna have to come back in and go to work. Like a fishing guide that doesn't fish.
All right,
haven't
here's where
fished.
you want to drill your holes. Good luck, guys.
Yeah. You know the last time I fished?
When we went fishing?
When we went
That's
fishing
sad,
in the
dude. You
spring.
got to get out and fish
Oh,
more.
man.
I just don't have the time, and if I do, I want to be
You
doing
can
deer
you
hunting
can
scouting.
fish
It's true.
for an hour though, you
Right.
know, any
Yeah.
day after work.
So I touched on the men's and women's categories. The Exodus Lift 2 trail camera, the shirt, the decal, the Timber Freak hybrid grunner, the titanium archery product stab, and then the digital deer camp shirt and hat.
Yep.
And then we have the youth under 18 category, and we kind of pooled the boys and girls together in that category because we didn't have a lot of entries, which we were a little bit bummed about. But
yeah, we wanted to have
we're gonna
20,
find a way to get
20
more.
girls, 20 boys, and
Yep.
you know, out of the hundreds of entries we had,
This is for kids?
Yep.
yeah, most
So-
of them were guys, you know, because
Yep.
that's who shoots, who hunts primarily. So next year, if you're listening to this and you have kids, or if you're a female too that has shot a deer, please enter them because we need way more.
Yeah. So anyway, the youth under 18 category, we had a couple of really awesome. Sean made a couple of really cool Timber Freak custom grunners that are kind of a little more color schemed for kids. So
nice.
yeah, so we've got one of the Timber Freak hybrid custom grunners, a tap stabilizer because we did have a lot of kids that shot deer with bows actually that were kind of in the upper age range, which was really cool. And then we've got a digital deer camp shirt and a lifestyle lost leather patch hat going to them too. So
Yeah.
I thought that the prize packages for those were pretty awesome, and I'm excited to kind of announce the names of these winners if you guys are
Yeah, man.
ready for that.
Fire through 'em.
All right. So the men's category winner, I hope you're listening, James Douglas. He locked it in with a pretty good amount of votes. He shot a great buck this year.
Yeah.
James Douglas, get a hold of us. Get us your contact information. You're the men's category winner. The women's category winner, Alexis Franco.
Yeah.
So she actually had a pretty awesome story about her buck too. She shot her buck and hit it, and actually posted video on our page of the shot, and it was a great shot. I mean,
kidding.
right in the boiler room, and the buck took off, and they never found it. Well, I don't know exactly how far after, but they had gone out, and they kind of continued to look for it, and she ended up finding her buck. Like I think it was almost like a week later,
I don't know if it was that long, but
a few days, something
Yeah, I
like
can't-
that. But
I read a lot of hunting stories this fall.
yeah. So anyways, she got her buck in, and she ended up pulling the most votes for the women's category. She was an entry into our digital deer camp last year too.
Yep.
Yeah,
And-
so she's.
and I
kind
thought it
of a-
was cool that she won too, because she was sending me trail cam pictures of these
Yeah.
big bucks that were showing up this year
Yeah.
on their property. She's like, yeah, you know, because they're in Texas, they have feeders and stuff,
Yep.
and there's some. She's like, I wish we had cameras at all of our different stands that we hunt at. So now she'll have a sweet ass camera to
Yeah.
put out there.
Yep. And then the youth under 18 category, Katrina Gouldy. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Katrina, let your parents know. Have them reach out to us with your contact
I
information.
pray Katrina doesn't listen to us on a regular basis.
No. So what we're gonna
Katrina's
do is,
parents are listening.
yeah. Hopefully,
You might want
hopefully.
to throw a disclaimer on the beginning of that.
Yeah.
Somehow we've managed to maintain our clean tag on
Yeah.
iTunes, and I don't know how that's
Because it's a bunch of guys that don't care that listen.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how many guys that hunt are going to be like, that's it, I'm going
Right.
in there, I'm going to tag them for not being clean.
Yeah. So, anyways, Katrina, I hope your parents are listening to this and can reach out. Otherwise, we're gonna reach out on social media to everybody too.
I would
and let
say
them know.
for the kids category,
Yep.
it's fair for us to reach out. And
Nope. Yeah. Nope. So we're gonna reach out there. So, just keep moving this along here. We had a bunch of additional prize entries, and we wanted to give some, like we said, to some of the email subscribers, just for some of the people that didn't have a successful hunt or something like that. Still, so we could keep them part of everything that was going on.
yeah,
So,
because in all the contests, like, everybody's like, oh, this is the problem we had last year.
we actually got to pull these up because we're gonna randomly generate these
yeah.
while we're talking.
You pull up a random number generator. But the issue we had last year is I'd see people's deer online, and I'd be like, hey, enter it in here, and they'd just be like, well, I'm not going to win because my deer is not very big. Or like, I'm not going to enter a doe into a buck pool, because last year we called it the buck pool. So that's why we changed the name. And we want to see as many people hunting and just talk to them, learn about what they did, because I learned all kinds of stuff from people this year that live in different places and hunt different ways. So, yeah, we have a ton of sweet prizes that are just random drawing. The only way we could really think of to do it was to have people sign up for our email list, and then we're just going to draw names out of our email subscribers for these.
Yep.
So,
So the first random drawing right now, we're gonna do for what?
but you need to know how many.
Huh?
You got all the numbers in there.
No, I'm gonna do it right now.
So this is your max number, and then
What's the max? Oh, okay.
So are you guys gonna publish the winners anywhere, or
We
just
will.
hoping?
I think
Yeah.
they. I don't know.
We're gonna probably publish them, so people can take a look at them, and then reach out to everybody too individually.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll spread them through our channels
Yeah.
too, also. And
yeah, and
or
I
we
mean,
can make them listen to the podcast.
yeah, we haven't set like a time limit if people don't respond back or reach out
Right.
to us, but we'll kind of play that one by ear. So
Yeah, I would say if you give it the highest percentage of the downloads really honestly come in the first week.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the next 2 weeks, and then after that it
Yeah.
trickles
Sure.
in. But
So for a sneak peek, you can listen the first week, and then we'll announce them second week, something like that.
probably a good idea. Give it a week.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So the first drawing is going to be for a Common Hunter SD card viewer and a case. I actually got one of these card viewers for Christmas, and I used to use a Stealth Cam one, which worked okay, and then I ran it through the wash in my hunting pants this year, which thrashed it. So I picked up a Common Hunter, and I mean it's pretty sweet.
I like it.
It's pretty sweet.
We got a couple of them in here, and I kind of distributed it out to these guys. I didn't think I'd have a big use for it, to be honest with you. I mean, I just put my SD card in my computer, right?
Yeah.
I like it
Until I
Didn't have it.
until I used it the first time.
Yeah.
I hadn't even used it actually, and a guy messaged in, and he was asking a question about it. I'm like, shit, I don't know. Let me grab the thing, and I threw it in, and I threw a card in. And I'm like, oh, I could never have this. This thing's badass.
Yep.
This just saves a lot of time. I mean,
they
you
are
can go.
great.
What I like too is like if I'm hunting a stand that's close to one of my cams,
Hey,
and I haven't checked it in a while.
you should pull the number up because it's going to take me like a minute or two to find each one, to
All right.
find the name. So you should
Okay.
pull the number up. And you guys can keep talking,
Okay.
and then while I'm searching.
Fine, dude.
They, I think they have an Android one out now, right?
They do.
He did.
I
He
got
messaged
the
you.
USB.
So, and they have some
Type-C.
other new products coming out, but the card reader's super nice. I like it because I like posting a lot of my trail cam
Yeah,
videos and
directly save it right
photos
to your
to social media. And yeah, you can screenshot it or save it right to your phone. You don't
Yeah.
have to go on the computer and put the file into an email or AirDrop it and then this and that. It's just it's nice. It's right there. And the way you just fly, I can go through them faster on my phone than I can on my computer.
Oh, no doubt.
Way faster.
And clear them off. Like when you got a bunch of ones you want to just clear out, it's
Right.
super easy. But if I'm hunting a stand that's close to one of my cameras, I'll pop the card out and I'll spend the
yeah.
first like 10 minutes in the stand, like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, which is terrible, glued to
Right.
my phone. But yeah, no, but I like doing that. So
I do too.
All
So
right.
the Common Hunter winner, the random generator number was number 349.
Which is Cody Plesner. Is that how you'd pronounce that?
I would imagine so.
All right. Cody Plesner, you are the winner.
Cody Plesner.
Yep. We should probably write these down as well.
That'd be
Trial by
great
fire
idea.
here.
Grab me. There's probably some paper, maybe somewhere under that binocular case over there. You might have to unplug your headset. There's a notepad. You can grab that.
Oh, I
Does it
see
say where he's from?
It does not, because all we have is their name and email.
I gotcha. We can announce his address, social security number over the.
You know, we requested people give that to us, and they didn't.
You're susceptible to any diseases.
How tall you are.
How many winners are there? How many different categories were there?
So there was 3 of the main categories for the big packages, and then for the random drawings, we've got 9 prizes.
And those
we're
were
gonna give
all
out.
donated to
These
by
were all
companies.
donated by companies that you guys have connected with and we've connected with. That just
I couldn't believe how many people are on board with it. I would say, like, most people we message, like, they're like, yeah, sure.
Right.
We'll donate a prize to this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
guys reached out
very
to
cool.
some. I reached out to some.
Yeah.
And
worked out very well.
it really did. Those guys, Common Hunter.
Yep.
The way that we met them, they, one of the guys, David, works with my friend Mario that I grew up with.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
and
cool.
My friend Mario was telling me, hey, they were having a conversation and that guy had found our podcast, and Mario told me, he's like, hey, this guy's way into deer hunting, man. You should like find him, talk to him. Found him on social media, and they're
Right.
actually going to be in here at some point in the next couple months.
Cool.
We're going to have them on the podcast.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
chatted
really
with
looking
those guys
forward to it.
online there.
They like hunting the big woods in northern Michigan,
Yeah,
just like we do.
They're
So,
public land pounders.
so I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. Next we have one titanium archery product stabilizer that we're going to give away in the random drawing too. So we've got that number generated. It's number 547.
Would it be bad to eat pizza on here?
I think that
It's your
would be bad.
podcast.
I would give you 3 stars for that.
Oh, it's the last thing we need is another 3-star review.
At least you don't have ice in your Yeti.
Yeah, clanking it around.
So 547
Yeah. We got.
is Casey Russell,
Okay.
which was the winner of the
Titanium archery product stabilizer.
Nice.
Yep.
Those are great too. I was surprised. I really had my doubts. I was like, a stabilizer's a stabilizer. You know, I'm
I
used
know.
to shooting a big chunk of Cobra steel hanging off the front of the bow, and then you
Or a
actually get
big old rubber donger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then you get like a high dollar nice
Ribbed.
stabilizer. Yeah.
Ribbed for whose pleasure?
The
Yeah.
shooters.
It does make a big difference. I mean, my bow's relatively new, so it's pretty dead in the hand already.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you can tell the difference when you screwed one of those
Well,
taps on there.
What I noticed a ton was I shoot a carbon night, so it's a super light bow.
Yeah.
You know, without the accessories, it's like 3.2 pounds, and so some of my accessories that are on it are a little bit heavier, and it's helped out deaden the bow. I mean, it's a great shooting bow, but I think moving forward, I'll definitely go back to, you know, an aluminum riser bow just because it's just a little bit too light for my liking. But putting this
It's nice
stabilizer on
carrying it
there,
in the woods though.
it is. But putting this stabilizer on there has helped it a ton. It's
Nice.
just giving it some forward weight and.
Yeah, and he's developing new products all the time.
Seems like all the time. I know he's always got like Instagram live stories going and like
Well,
talking about what's going on. And
He's
After-
all in on it. Like, I just talked to Sam a couple weeks ago, and he's going hard this year.
After using the stabilizer that I've got, I've been on their website like looking at some of the higher end ones with the side stabilizer attachments and stuff on it. You know, it'd just be kind of cool to see what some of that other stuff can do.
yeah.
Not that I want to get all crazy and have a bunch of junk hanging off my bow, but
I just think it's cool, like, now that you can be online and social media and stuff and find these companies that have, like, these superior products that aren't big companies that otherwise you would never know exist.
yep.
And
And
talk to the guy that's
And talk
running
to
it.
the guy that
Right,
makes it.
Right.
There you go again.
Yep.
I'm a sucker for that, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for
All
the
right.
next one, what's our next prize here?
We got another Timber Freak custom grunt call. We're gonna
All right.
draw that. We've generated the number. It's number 980.
And that is Clarissa Harris.
Clarissa Harris.
That
Okay.
is right.
What's up, Clarissa?
Clarissa explains it all.
Jen was watching Sabrina the other day.
We're getting way off topic here. It's getting
All
weird. So, all right. So this next one I'm really excited about. You had Heather on the podcast a while ago, didn't you?
Yeah.
Heather from Heather's Choice.
Cool story. Cool company.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is very awesome. These are for people that don't know. These are like backpacking and backcountry type meals. Kind of instant packable meals.
Dehydrated.
Dehydrated.
High quality, high
Yeah.
nutrition quantity, real healthy,
Well,
good tasting, dehydrated meals.
she's donated a variety pack to be given out. So
Nice.
yeah, so these are for. This
I'm
is kinda
gonna
for anybody.
highly recommend the smoke sockeye chowder, dude.
That just makes my mouth water thinking about it, man.
When we
I'm not even
went
kidding.
hunting this year, our first couple days at rifle camp, we were sleeping in that teepee, and it was like sleeting and raining sideways. And that's what I had. So I jet boiled up a thing of water,
Yeah.
What the hell was I eating?
Dude, you tried to reheat barbecued pork in a jet boil.
Yeah, I had some
and
vacuum
instantly burned.
vacuum sealed pulled pork from
Instant
like
char.
my daughter's birthday in August. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll take that. That'll work great.
Didn't you mix something else in there? Or
No, I just threw a little bit of water in there and then dropped the pork in there and it just burnt instantly.
Oh.
I mean, I got through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had it comes in a pouch. And so you just boil your, 16 ounces of water, 8 ounces of water in your jet boil. Takes a minute.
Yep.
Then you dump it in this bag. You zip the bag back closed, and you just let it sit for whatever it is, like 5 or 10 minutes, Then you stir it up, and you have a bag of smoked sockeye.
When he was eating this, I felt like a kid like standing outside the restaurant window while getting like rained on, like
Sad.
Aw.
Sad.
I gave him some.
Yeah.
I did give him
That was
some.
too funny.
Because there's a healthy portion, too, of
All
that
right.
stuff in there.
So
So the Heather's Choice Variety Pack winner generated number 966. That's Christopher Savoy.
that's how I'd pronounce it.
Yep. Christopher Savoy.
Dude, I'd be pumped up if I won that.
Yep.
You got some.
That's actually
you got
why
some
Mason
dark.
Niekoff was so mad that he didn't get entered because he wanted to win.
He wanted the variety pack.
You got some dark chocolate buffalo chili and smoked sockeye chowder coming your way.
Yep.
I would just
it's a
literally
pretty sweet pack. Like I looked it up online.
Did you ever
I was
think
like,
you'd be eating that kind of stuff like back in the woods? Like packing it in. Everyone thinks like
packing it in?
oatmeal,
Yeah, I mean,
jerky.
I'm telling you,
I mean-
that thing stood out to me, and I'll say that we have a promotional code with Heather. It's just Deer Hunter, and it's for 10 or 15% off if
Oh,
you go to
sweet.
Heather's Choice and you want any of those meals and you use the promotional code Deer Hunter. It'll give you a discount.
Nice.
So this next winter, this is kind of cool because I've actually sat down to lunch with this guy, and I know for a fact that his email doesn't work anymore, so I'm going to have to reach out to him personally. So what is our next prize?
This next winter, Landon reached out to a gentleman on social media that hand makes really awesome knives.
Oh, dude,
High quality steel.
I want one of these knives.
Yeah, and custom makes the handles and everything, and just it's all by hand. And the guy doesn't do it as like a big business. He does it because he likes making knives. Osborne handmade knives is
They are beautiful.
they are
I mean,
really cool.
Like,
Oh, God.
I would have to use it if I bought one.
I just been I
But,
got
like,
him.
at the
I
same
added him on
time-
Instagram, and I just look
Yeah.
at his feed every day. And I'm like, God damn it, why don't I own one of these?
I know. He does some awesome stuff. So he offered to make a handmade knife for one of the winners. So we've got the winner pulled up.
Yeah, Bruce Matthews, and he actually just retired. He worked for the North Country Trail, which is right in Lowell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd started talking to him because he was going to come to the river cleanup and couldn't, and actually reached out and said, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to make it." So and I know he wanted to. He had some family stuff that came up, but he's done a lot of different things in the conservation world in terms of like studying like why hunter and angler numbers are decreasing and stuff. So I think that's really cool that he won this because he's done a lot to contribute and
Yeah,
help
that's kick ass. I
conservation.
love hearing
Yep.
somebody like that
Yeah.
one.
I don't know
Yeah.
about you guys, but I use the North Country Trail to hunt and fish several different spots. And he used to work for the North Country Trail, which is like pretty much a volunteer organization for the most part that manages the trail in Michigan. Well, it goes from where? Like
I could not. I mean, it goes.
all the way through the UP, like out to
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh,
Montana
Wow.
or
I
something.
know
It's
there's a
crazy.
section of it that goes through the PRC,
Yep.
Yeah.
a big section.
Yeah. So the next one that we're drawing is a Stormy Cromer original ball cap.
Nice.
Yeah.
I just recently heard those guys are moving.
Really?
They're moving out west, is what I heard.
No
No
kidding.
way.
That's what my wife told me.
Crazy.
Yep.
That's been a long-term Michigan-based company. Started here, and well,
They have a renaissance. They're having a bit of a renaissance right now.
yeah, they are. Yep.
They probably got some,
Yep.
maybe new marketing or something going
Probably.
on. But yeah, I've been seeing them everywhere.
So we've got a Stormy Cromer ball cap going to
I'm just getting to it. Gregory McGuire.
Okay. And again, we're going to send emails out to all these people because these are our email subscribers.
Yeah, and if you don't know what a Stormy Cromer is, which I imagine some people might not, Stormy Cromer.
It's like
If
the
you Google
original
it.
deer hunting hat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of why we reached out to him, you know. It's like that red plaid's kind of been like iconic deer hunting, you know, back in the day. So.
Right.
Moving on, we've got somebody that's going to receive 2 flavors, 2 bottles of Jerky Gold Marinade. You can kind of use it on anything. It doesn't just need to be used for jerky either. So
I'd been following this guy on Instagram for a while. And I kept, meaning to get some of his jerky, or his marinade, not his jerky. He sells a marinade. And I asked him if he'd donate some, and when he did, I bought some for myself. Made a couple different flavors of it, and I will say it was real good stuff. And it's just simple. It's in a bottle. Pour it in there, let it marinate. I've made it myself. I've made marinades myself before. I always feel like the stuff I've bought is
just
better.
suck. Don't.
I think I do suck at it, but this is fairly healthy stuff too. It's not loaded with a bunch of like chemicals and stuff to make it taste good. So
I could go for some goose jerky right now, real
That
bad.
does
You
sound
talking
good.
about jerky, man? I'm just thinking about maybe some teriyaki goose jerky
So
with this PBR that I'm drinking right now. Are you fucking kidding
That
me,
sounds
dude?
too good.
so this person only put their first name as their name.
Okay.
Looking
Okay,
at their
redo. All right, redo.
Regenerate this.
No.
That's not fair, man.
Well, I've got his email.
Is it McLovin?
No. It's Brody. But
Brody.
guessing by his email, I'm going to guess his last name is Nerf.
Okay.
Might be.
All right.
So-
that's a shot in the dark.
And
What's he win?
He
Is
wins
this
two.
email-
He wins 2 bottles of Jerky Gold Marinade.
Is it bnerf@gmail.com?
it's something. I'm not going to give away people's emails on a critically acclaimed, nationwide, worldwide podcast that everybody listens to.
So you're
Grammy
probably
nominee.
fine just reading it off right now.
Yeah.
Grammy nominee.
All right, so we're finishing up with a pretty cool prize that was donated by the guys at Harvesting Nature. We met those guys. We didn't meet them. We talked to them back last summer, and they do kind of they have a publication. It's not. It's kind of cool what they do. One of them is a professional cook. And the other guy, they've kind of collaborated on putting together this sort of like pieced in publication where they have, general writers, random people that want to write articles and stuff about really interesting outdoor topics and cooking and things like that. And they donate it in and they publish their articles. They do it all over social media. So it's they're pretty cool guys to follow, but what you'll really get out of it is some of their recipes. So they donated the Harvesting Nature cookbook that they actually put together for a lot of their wild game recipes and things like that. And there's a lot of really good information in there. So we've drawn that name.
Which this is somebody that we know and have met in person as well, so that's pretty cool.
Do I know?
Yeah, you met him probably very briefly at the River Recovery. He only could come to the beginning part. He
Yeah.
cleaned some stuff up, and he had to go to work. Maxwell Majinska.
Yep.
Nice.
You won the cookbook, which, looking at, I've went through some of the recipes that they have on there, and I'm definitely going to get my hands on one of those books because
Congratulations, dude. You're invited over for a podcast. We're going to bring your cookbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect
Let us-
every recipe.
Yeah, there
Let
you
us
go.
know
Your
what you
best
need to
work.
get out, and we'll thaw it out. We'll have it ready to go. You can redeem your prize here.
Right. So, all right. So that's it for the winners. Really for the digital deer camp. I know that was kind of long-winded, but we got through it and we got some really cool stuff to give to
we
people.
actually got through all the prizes in about a half hour.
Yeah. I want to just real quick while we're finishing up. I know everybody's going to kind of be on board with that, but just giving a shout out.
Before everybody gets off, Sorry, Kevin.
Whoa. Whoa.
Really powered in there with that
Yeah, you
statement.
You're about 30 minutes too late for me.
Well, huge shout out to Dan and the Hunting Beast for donating the scouting workshop. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit, but Jeff Lipple won that. Exodus trail cameras, titanium archery products, Timber Freak game calls.
We should say that the reason that we did the Dan Infalt workshop giveaway earlier is because we wanted the winner to have time to be able to coordinate, because that's coming up here pretty quick.
Yeah. Yep. Common Hunter, Heather's Choice, Stormy Cromer, Jerky Gold, Marinade, Osborne Knives, and Harvesting Nature.
Yeah.
So big shout out to everybody that donated stuff into.
Yeah, and we'll keep the web page up with the digital deer camp on it for a while. So if you guys want to check out any of these products like Heather's Choice or like the knives from Osborne Knives or something, you can get on there and there'll be a link to their website or Instagram or someplace you can check them out and find them. But thanks to all the people that donated those prizes. That was a huge help to us, and obviously all the winners are going to appreciate this as well.
Hey, I was outside going to the bathroom and getting firewood. I missed who won the Access Trail cameras, and I'm just curious.
Well, those were the category winners of
James Douglas and Alexis Franco.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. James Douglas and Alexis Franco.
Those things.
we kept those.
Yeah.
Nobody.
What camera?
Yeah. What?
They've
what
been
cameras?
sitting here at my house for a couple months, and I was like, man,
I should just use those.
yeah, no one would ever know.
No one would ever know.
They were field
Well,
tested.
we didn't say they were going to be
Upgraded.
new ones.
They're upgraded.
Yeah.
They got the new firmware.
Yep.
Might
They
have
do.
a little bit of tree sap on them.
They do
Yeah.
have the new firmware update. Not the newest firmware update that hasn't been released, that we're kind of running a trial on right now. Those I don't know if those guys have ever ran cameras before, but these cameras are different, and I'll be interested.
I
want to.
both have.
They have. James
Yeah.
is a
Oh,
James
good.
is a pretty
Great.
hardcore guy. We've
Awesome.
followed him. So
I'll be really, really wanting your guys' feedback on what you think about those cameras in comparison to what you've ran before or what you're currently
Yeah.
running, because we've really enjoyed dealing with those guys and running their camera, and we're trying out like a new firmware update that actually even elongates the battery life more and has a quicker trigger time.
really.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Isn't it
Very
weird how
cool.
the code on something can make the battery last longer and shutter time be quicker?
Crazy.
dude, these things are amazing. So like Chad has, they've done it once since this camera was released, and these guys are constantly striving to make the best product. So they're working with this stuff all the time, and he's like, hey, we have a firmware update. I just sent it to you. It's in your email. Well, just like when you're checking your SD card, you put your SD card in your computer. You just drag and drop the file from your email onto the SD card.
Yep.
Boom, it's on there.
Really?
You take your SD card out into the field, you put it into the camera, and you just go down, scroll through, and one of the icons is like
It says
update.
firmware, and then it's like your version, and you go into version, and it's update, and you can update
Crazy.
the firmware.
And you just hit boom, and
That's
it just
crazy.
says like thinking, and there's starts at 1%, and it just starts climbing until it gets to 100%, and
That's good to go.
you shut it off and turn it back on. It has the new firmware.
If you're
update.
struggling with it too, they have a video right on their website where
Wow.
you the link or right below where you download the firmware. There's
Okay.
a video
You're
on how to
struggling with click and
actually.
drag.
If you're
do it.
struggling with it, you're probably struggling with life overall, because it's super easy.
Yeah, but let's face it. I mean, a lot of people who deer hunt a lot don't spend much time sitting on their computer. So.
Yeah, I
Mm.
get that, but I mean, most people nowadays can drag and drop a file.
Yeah.
It's that simple, and you don't have to do it anyway. I mean, it's just an option.
It'll still
right?
work if
Yeah.
you don't.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
Yep.
It's cool, and it says in there like what it does. It's but they're like little computers,
Yeah.
and it's amazing how they work.
Insane.
I got a couple of them out right now on some bedding areas that I'm scouting.
Mm-hmm. I've been hitting
So-
a couple of spots there, checking out.
I
some
would
bedding,
never
too.
ever have left the camera out this time of year.
Before.
Yeah, Like,
Well,
why
you might get a couple of days out of battery life.
Yeah, and why subject
I
it
don't
to
think that's
this
true.
time of the year, you know?
When it's this cold.
I mean, I've got a Moultrie that's not, I don't know, it's not like their most expensive model, but I left it out from last year from, I don't know, beginning of hunting season all the way until spring almost, and the batteries were still chugging along on it.
Really?
Well, it depends on.
With,
it depends on
alkaline
what
batteries?
you got your set at.
No, just regular batteries. I
Wow.
was pretty surprised.
Yeah.
It depends on how
So
many
regular
photos
uploads.
you're getting, too.
Well,
That's
and
a
there's
huge
That's what I
hardly
mean.
any
It
deer
depends on
on,
what
like,
it's set.
I own 10 acres, and I probably had 12 pictures of deer out there all season.
Oh,
So
well, yeah. If the thing's bombing photos all day,
Yeah.
or if you have it in, like, we run it in hybrid mode
If
where
you're
it takes a
hitting 20,
photo
20
and
30
then it
photos a
runs a
night,
video,
it's gonna roast pretty quick.
Yeah.
video, you know?
Yep.
But I've had a camera on video mode since October, and the batteries when I went out there yesterday were 73%.
That's awesome.
really,
It's in video mode, so it's
Awesome.
taking 30-second video clips and a photo every time a deer comes through.
Nice.
Pretty, yeah.
Very cool.
So that's cool. I will want your guys' feedback on those cameras, what you think about them.
yeah. I'd say for all the prizes too, because some of the stuff I own, some of it I don't. So, you know,
I
think
want to. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just thinking, before I forget, I want to check out some of those new Hawk cameras.
Oh yeah.
Never heard
Hawk
anything
Ghost.
about 'em.
Or
Yeah.
Ghost.
They look pretty sweet.
They do. They do. They
But-
look very.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I want
you
to get
never
one.
know.
Yeah, I want to get
You
a
never know.
couple in here and try them out and
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
You can't have, like, you can't compare your shit to other shit. unless you
Right.
get the other
Exactly.
shit, you
Yeah.
know?
For sure.
It sucks with cameras because they're damn expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought so many before that it bit me in the ass that I won't buy them again.
Yeah.
I feel like I
yeah,
already
right.
had the sample size. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yep.
So,
I mean, they've
but
come
you,
a long way from
it's-
where they used to.
I've had
be.
the worst experience with Moultrie, and you say you've had one that's lasted you a long time, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have a ton of different models.
And a
though,
lot of guys
so-
messaged in when I post stuff on trail cameras that they've had Moultries that like 5 years old or something, you know?
Mine's
Mhm.
going on 2.5 years old since I've had it, I think, and it works great, I think. But then again, you know, I don't really have any. It's the best camera I've ever owned, but the other ones I owned before.
Do you know
that
what
were
model it is?
junk. No,
You
I
don't.
could look.
I'm sure you could. I was wondering if you knew.
No, I'm not that kind of guy. I barely know what kind of bow I shoot. Yep, this is a bow. This will work.
So is that it? Or was we're all wrapped up on all the winners, and
Yeah, on the digital deer camp, that's it.
I'll be
Now
looking
it's
forward to
on
hopefully more
to,
people joining in on it next year. It was a fun social event.
It was.
Really?
It was really
Like
cool.
met some people that I didn't know before because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people that got involved to just shoot stuff in. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a different take on, the whole big buck pole type of deal.
Right.
So,
And then so Jeff,
yep.
he's coming with us. I think his cousin or brother, he said, is coming with us.
Okay.
He actually sent me an email back while we're sitting here talking. Did you guys get the email I sent out last night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. It was up late when I was doing that when I sent it out. I don't know. I was questioning whether or not I even did it right. Or did you click on the links? Did the links
I
work?
haven't yet, no.
Okay.
Yeah, the maps came up.
Okay.
So if anybody's wondering, when Dan does the scouting camp, he sends out an email with maps for the area we're going to scout and says, go over these maps, pick areas where you
Actually haven't
would
looked at
like
that yet.
treat it like you're going to hunt there.
Yeah.
So go over the maps, mark them up, do whatever. And that way when you go to the scouting workshop, you can ask questions, tell him why you pick these areas. He'll tell you why they're good
Why
or
you're
bad or,
Yeah.
maybe you get lucky and he's got a tree stand sitting right where you picked up and you
Right.
can run the workshop next year. Who knows? But
Yeah.
and then he
Yeah.
also said if you want to bring maps for areas that you are hunting or planning to hunt, bring in a map and
Oh,
he'll
that's super
take
cool.
a couple minutes, to look it over with you and kind of give it a quick glance and say like, oh, well, maybe look over here or here,
Mhm.
so
Yep.
pretty damn handy.
So I will say that I think we talked on our last podcast. I was saying I was going to try some new things and hunt some public land, and because I've been hunting the same farm for years, and it's hunting, but it's pretty much set in the same spots, 90 acres for years and years and years. It gets pretty boring, and this is by far my best hunting season in terms of just how much fun I've had. And I was just out pretty much doing all the stuff I heard on Dan's podcast. And I found a lot of good areas. You know, I saw one really nice buck on some public land, but for the most part, just I got out there and found where the deer were living, was able to say, okay, I think deer are going to move from this area, and was surprised at, like, how right I was a lot of times. Granted, most of the time there were some does or some small bucks, but just completely changed the way I think about hunting.
Yeah,
even the 90 acres I hunt, like I went out there with a different mindset about why the deer were moving from area to area, instead of just going, well, I know at 10:30 sometimes the deer walk through that spot.
Right.
So
right.
I'm super pumped to get out there and talk to him in person.
He's just a fun guy to be around too. He really is.
Yeah.
He's an entertaining guy. There's a reason why he's done well.
And he's just a
cool,
genius.
cool
the way
personality,
he thinks about
and
things.
yeah,
He's a genius, but he just puts everything like so simple that you're like, well, yeah.
But he
like,
thinks
Yeah,
about it from a.
how the hell
but he
did
like,
I miss
well,
that?
That's
for
what I
so
mean.
many
He
years?
lays out a perspective, and it's like, well, yeah, duh, but why the fuck didn't I think of that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
right.
Like when he's like,
I
if
don't
you
know.
were a deer laying there and you heard something move, would you 2 hours later still be going, I wonder where it's at? No, you'd forget about it.
Yeah.
right. Unless it was
Yeah.
like right in front of you, 10 yards, and it
You
walked
saw
behind a
it.
pine tree and didn't come back out.
Right.
Dude,
Right.
I've even had that happen.
I
when was
kind of have
hunting.
too, and after
like-
30 minutes, you're like, "Fuck, I don't know."
I don't
Maybe it
know.
didn't. Maybe I was imagining it.
And then 3 hours later, you see it like step out the other side, and you're like, it was a deer.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
been
yeah.
questioning
Dude, I had
yourself for 6 hours.
I had a mature, nice buck 2 years ago in the Pigeon River Forest. And I think actually what happened, the only reason he was up during daylight, now that I've looked back on this over a couple years, I think I bumped that deer coming in.
Oh, okay.
And because when I saw him originally, he was walking away from me. But it was in some real thick stuff, and I was up high. He wouldn't have been able to see 10 feet.
Right.
But I think I walked past that deer coming into my spot, and he got up and walked away from me probably like 50 yards, and I hit a grunt call, and he J-hooked.
Yep.
And I thought he was J-hooking because of my grunt call, and he was going to come right back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And what he was actually doing was J-hooking into another bed.
Right.
And he was quartering to me coming, and I had one lane, and I had the gun up, and I was ready and everything. I could see is like a big, heavy, chocolate rack, mature deer,
Yeah.
and one pine tree to clear. He never came past it. And I'm like, no way. And I ended up sitting there for 2 hours, and then right at last light, a little 6-point buck came through,
Yep.
started walking straight over there, and I'm like, well, that buck's going to get up for sure, right? And it wasn't until that little 6-point went behind that tree that I heard the first time I've ever heard a buck roar. Yeah, where
Right.
his vocal cords actually broke up.
Yeah.
It was so loud,
Yeah.
and a roar, and then a smash of horns, and then just off into the swamp they went.
No shit.
Yep. And he
Crazy.
probably ran that little buck off.
Mhm.
And the next day I went there and hunted in the morning. I got down after the morning hunt and walked over there, and sure enough, there was a huge bean-shaped bed right behind that
Right
pine
behind
tree.
the pine tree.
Yep.
Yeah. Man.
Bean shape.
It's going to haunt me forever, man.
Yeah.
It really is. It was like I was this close to sealing a deal on a big.
Nice big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have guessed him to be, probably over 130.
Right.
Maybe 140, 150. I don't know.
Nice
He was a
buck.
great big deer when I had initially seen him the morning before.
Mm-hmm.
It was right in this little bedding area. I thought it was an elk when it first walked through.
Yeah.
Just seeing the rack,
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it wasn't a deer.
Yeah.
And then he turned and was walking away, and elk have a very distinct white butt,
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, that's a
That's a big deer.
white tail.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man,
So
that was fun.
didn't see him this year. Maybe next year.
Yeah. Still hanging around.
So yeah, but we'll be going to that scouting workshop. That's gonna be fun as hell. There's 14 of us.
That's a crew.
Yeah. That's a good
How many
group.
people are in the workshop? We pretty much make up most of it.
30.
Half of it.
Yep, we make up half of
We'll
it.
put Dan
Very
on
cool.
our
I
team.
think
We
Dan
call us
normally
half.
likes to keep it at 25,
Mm-hmm.
so that's a real good number. But because we had some extra guys, and he had one other guy that he said basically gave him a sob story about, he's got to let him come.
Yeah.
I already bought a plane ticket or something like that.
Yeah.
He's flying in
Too cool, man.
to do this. So
Crazy.
I'm
Yeah.
really excited.
It's gonna
I'm
be
looking
fun.
forward to it.
And we're
Yeah.
going to video it.
Oh, cool.
We're bringing the camera with the tripod. We're bringing a couple other cameras, and we're going to try to get real good documentation of the whole scouting workshop.
Right.
And then we're going to give the footage to Dan, and we're going to make a YouTube video
Awesome.
for our page. And then Dan is also, probably going to use some of it for the Hunting Beast
Yeah.
page.
Yeah.
I have a
So-
feeling it could be somewhat comical and educational.
It's going to be an interesting weekend.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good one.
Well, we should probably get some sleep if we're getting up at 5:30 in the morning, huh?
I suppose.
Kind of
Yeah.
covered everything that I wanted to talk about. I guess the only thing that, I was going to bring up is we talked about going over to Wisconsin next year to do some hunting.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of torn whether or not I want to invest my time over there next year or in the UP.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm buying a new backpack,
All right.
and I really want to get a little more into the backcountry experience this year while doing some deer hunting, and the UP is definitely the spot.
Yeah.
For me, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost me any out-of-state fees or whatever.
It's a lot of country up there.
Giant
It's
tracts
closer,
of
so you can get up there more.
public land,
Mm-hmm.
and if I get in the right place at the right time, I could kill a big deer, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and just finding the spot that you want to focus in on and then hitting it hard. Like I said, we had talked a little bit. I know some pretty good spots up there, but the expanse of it is so huge. It really depends on what you want to hunt. I mean, you could hunt big woods up there. You could hunt swamps.
I
And
mean,
you could find and you can lock down some big deer. The key up there, because the expanse is so big, is finding bedding. You're going to be hard pressed to really find consistent food. So that's not something that
It's
you know,
big
I would
woods
say you're
deer
gonna
hunting, man.
you're gonna
Yep.
cover a significant more ground up there, to find deer sign than you would maybe.
Well, the PRC's that way. I mean,
Yeah.
we've been hunting like that for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's pockets. You can find, I mean, it sounds cliche as hell, but, the farther you get off the beaten path, especially up there, the more that you're going to find, because, in the UP, you're talking an area that gets heavy gun pressure, and, it's like bow season. There's guys that live up there that do bow hunt and archery hunt, but not quite like once rifle season opens up there. I mean, that's like national holiday in
Right.
the state of Michigan, anywhere, but especially up there, it's one of those things. You talk about tradition, and most of those guys aren't talking about bow hunting; they're talking about rifle hunting and deer camp. So yeah,
But
I
I
think
gotta say-
early archery.
If I went up there to hunt, it would be more for the experience than to actually try to kill a deer.
That's what I'm all about, man.
Yeah.
So
I know I'll
if
get
that's
a
what
deer.
you're
I
after,
mean,
then
I'm
it's
pretty
probably a place in the
certain.
middle.
I shouldn't say I know, but I'm relatively confident that I'll be able to kill a deer in some way, shape, or form next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that experience is a lot of what I want.
Yeah.
Just thinking back about those couple days that we spent in the teepee this year, running the stove
Yep.
and sitting in there, it was like,
Watching you eat a delicious bowl of chowder while I don't.
Time of year up there. Time of year up there is a big thing too. Like I said, you could find good opportunities archery hunting, but you're talking about and they travel anywhere when they yard up, but up there, because of the food and the thermal cover and stuff, the travel expanse is so much different.
There's- go on.
I was just gonna say one of the areas that I primarily hunt. As soon as you get more than 6 inches of snow on the ground for more than a week, the sign virtually disappears, and those deer are 5 miles away in the cedar cover. And depending on where you're at, sometimes they move closer to the lake shore. So
Right.
they just travel long distance up there. They don't winter in the spot that I primarily hunt.
Yeah, how much do you know and understand about the migratory pattern of them up there? Because the whitetails up there actually migrate, right?
Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's
They move
crazy.
so far,
Right.
so I know a decent amount.
So they yard up in the winter.
You know, they'll yard up big time in the winter. You know, like down here, you'll start to see, like, you know, these fields fill up with 20, 30, 40 deer sometimes, depending on where you're at.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same sort of deal, but what it revolves around up there, especially in the area that I'm at, is cedars.
Right.
You know, you're talking thermal cover plus food,
Right.
you know, right there.
Do you know cedar is the only food, and anybody that hears me say this should probably confirm this because I was told this, but I was told this by a pretty intelligent person that has a lot of history in hunting northern Michigan, and he said cedar is the only food that deer can solely survive on.
Yep.
Really?
Like, other than that, if they could only eat acorns, it
They're
wouldn't have everything that they need. Cedar has everything they need to survive.
That's crazy.
So
I
on
did not know that.
some some private pieces up there, my family over in Menominee County,
I'm gonna check that with Chad Stewart.
they have some rougher property in certain areas, and when the winters are real hard, because it's just not economical to go and try and bait all the time.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go and they'll lob off a foot or two up all the cedar boughs and drop them on the ground.
Right.
You know, and they'll just go in with clippers and clip, and that, you know, creates a ton of food for them.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so-
Makes sense.
Yeah, but cedars is huge late season up there. I
Yeah.
mean, if you can hunt late season, get to the cedars, you know,
Oh,
especially
man.
if there's snow on the ground.
God, that
Yeah.
sounds fun.
Yeah.
I can see
But there can also be a lot of cedars to get to.
sitting in a badass cedar swamp up in the UP with a muzzleloader late season on a snowy day,
Yep.
and just hearing some stick snap and turn around and there's a buck coming. Like,
Yeah.
God.
The swamp, like the marshy hunting up there too is really fun, which is primarily where we hunt, you know, anyways, you know, and like the big thing, especially up there when you're not, for us, at least historically speaking, you know, is finding yourself somewhere near water, because any of those marshy areas, no matter where the big woods is at, you find some sort of a marsh or a series of marshes, because it's not just one. You got like these potholes.
Right.
They travel for a long distance. I'll show you guys on some maps, but
Right.
you hunt any one of those edges, and that's just major travel corridors. So that's where the deer, you know, it's kind of like everything you hear anyways. Hunt where, you know, edges of water and transitions and stuff. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then you find the bedding, you know, and on top of that, you find a lot of other stuff too. You're dealing with a couple other pieces of competition. The wolves up there are a little bit,
Right.
Yeah.
Wolves and bears. And
wolves pushing them around and stuff like that.
Do they
so-
ever confirm cougars up there now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did, but there's no way they could even deny it at this point. I
Right.
mean, it's
They're on
just-
trail cams. And
yeah.
Right. I didn't know if they had officially said.
Fuck those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what, you know, wolves don't bother me, bears don't bother me, but the thought of like being somewhere where there's like a cougar potentially around, like that
don't know.
sketches me out a little bit.
Bears
Even when I
bother
had
me
a
more
house
than any
cat,
of
it would
those
randomly
animals.
attack me. You know, and it walk by a mountain lion.
Yeah, for real. So, but yeah.
I heard you can bait cougars in with wine. Just something I heard.
Affliction t-shirts and bedazzled jeans.
No, yeah, I'm like craving that as much or more so than I am of shooting a real big deer.
Wine.
Cougars?
Wine sounds good too, man. Not right now, but maybe tomorrow night might have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were still
These
talking about
PBRs
cougars.
right now are,
hitting the spot.
Yeah.
oh man, it's great podcast beer. I don't know
So
why we don't do this more often.
something that Jason and I talked about is getting up to UP and like doing a brook trout fishing trip. Maybe you guys could come along on that. And
I'd like to go up there and do some scouting. Maybe if I have time to fish, that'd be awesome.
yeah,
Springtime, we can hit them both.
Right, that's what I'm
I'll
thinking.
tell you what, if
you can.
If we
do
go
both
up-
at the same time,
we go up where I'm talking, we can go back in and find some good steelhead way back in the middle of nowhere too.
That would be awesome.
that are there pretty much all year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting a new backpack. I'm just waiting to basically close out my cart, but I've got it all built through Kavaru.
Awesome.
I'm getting a frame pack and a new bag and whatnot. And I worked a little bit last week with Aaron Snyder over the phone, and he kind of took my measurements for everything and made some recommendations. And yeah, I'm gonna gonna pull the trigger on what I'm looking at as like a lifetime investment.
Yeah.
On, I'm not gonna. It seems like, from what a lot of people have said, that it's basically the highest quality pack that you can get. Comes with a pretty heavy price tag, but I think it's something that it sounds like I'll be able to hand down to my son.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, whoa, this was my dad's deer hunting backpack. Like a bunch of.
Yep.
This thing's been through a lot. It's got a lot of history.
Yeah.
And Kafaru said they have customers that send things in that are 30 years old for repair.
Really?
Unreal. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's crazy.
You can get a product that lasts you that long.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'll pay top dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I've called there, I've talked to somebody that's like way more competent than I am. Like we've had that discussion before about going into places and looking at products and asking questions, and the people that work there, 4 times more about it than they do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which, you get it. Like, they're just showing up because it's a job. It's not their passion to tell you all this shit that they have in this store. And that's not the case when you deal with the smaller places like that. So
Yeah, it's refreshing.
And Ray Bickle.
Yeah.
He had one, and I wore it a little bit when we were up north doing some deer hunting this fall. And I was just super impressed with how
Really?
Oh, it's just so much different than the weight distribution.
Sure.
Is the biggest thing, right? You hear these guys talk, well, hauled out 100
on your
pounds.
hips, weight off your shoulders type of thing.
Or in Aaron's case, obviously he's basically a professional at this, but he's hauled out 150 pounds for miles and through the mountains,
right?
Mind you,
right?
And I'm thinking in my head, like, how is that possible? Like, I put 35 pounds in this thing.
You're like,
oh yeah, man. It's just, I mean, it works, but
sure. Yeah.
it's not that efficient. And I want something that's efficient and is going to last. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then he's like, dude, get it. He's like, kick the shit out of it. And I told him, because when we go to the outdoor retailer in July, it's right by where Kafaru is.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, kick the shit out of it for a couple months and bring it with you. And when you come in, he's like, I'll, make a bunch of adjustments to it or whatnot, and you can tell me what you do and don't like about it and this and that. So
that's sweet.
I thought so too. And I told him, I said, hey, when I'm out there and we hook up, I'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yep.
It'd be great. You've been somebody that I've been wanting to have on since we started doing this thing, because I started listening to the Gritty Bowman when he was on there, and that kind of like ignited for me a little bit more of doing like the backpack style hunting. I'm like, shit, I can do this right here in my own state, and I haven't in all these years.
Yeah.
That's kind of what got me into it. So he said, oh, we've got a brand new studio here. He's like, you just throw your SD card in and
no kidding,
we could just do a podcast and
roll it out.
Right.
That's sweet.
So hopefully,
sounds like a fun trip.
He might be out of town, might not work out. But regardless, when I go over there, I'm taking my pack with me. I'm going to go in there, and I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how much more efficient it makes me come this fall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I want to do more of too, is kick around and backpack style hunt a little bit more, especially right here in the state, So I know a lot of areas I want to go. It's just a matter of going.
Bomarito just pulled the trigger on a new pack. He bought it was Alps Z or X.
Alps Outdoors.
Alps Outdoors has a new frame pack. It's literally a third.
Yeah, it's
almost
called
a third of the cost of the bag and pack that I just purchased.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty legit.
Yeah.
I don't know how it'll hold up for longevity or comfort, but Nick just picked it up, so it's going to be cool. I'm going to have this new pack. He's going to have that new pack, and we plan on putting some weight in him and doing some hiking and stuff here in the next couple months and being able to see what the differences are and the pros and the cons and all that. So we should have some good feedback on a couple of the, the upper echelon of packs that are out there available right now for guys that want to whitetail hunt in that manner.
Nice.
Or go out west,
or whatever.
Yeah. Even pronghorn or anything that you're going to do backcountry style, you need a good backpack.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things for whitetail hunters where a lot of people don't think much about it, but I feel like the style of hunting is changing, and especially like we're talking about looking
Seems
for a
to
little
be.
bit more of a challenge, and
There's more
trying to get out
people
and see
like
more
getting out
countries.
west and hunting now than there ever
Yeah.
used to be.
Yeah.
People are in it for the adventure.
Yeah.
They're not,
Well, I
putting
think
meat in the freezer is important, but everybody wants to have a good experience too.
people like Infault and whatnot, you see the kind of deer that they're killing on public land, and then you realize you're like, all right, well, I go to public land and there's a ton of people there.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you got to maybe go to more isolated public land
Mm-hmm.
and be able to get away from those people. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's probably some giant bucks in the UP that die of old age, right?
Oh yeah, God, I got a rack that's I've never put a tape on it, but it's probably about 165 inches rack that from a deadhead that my dad found 10 years ago now,
No shit.
way back in there.
My uncle and my grandpa both shot monsters up there. I think my uncle's was the biggest buck shot in the state that year in the UP.
Really?
And so I mean, they're there.
Right.
You just got a lot more ground to cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
And
You're
there's
gonna have to
their
be
tanks
efficient.
and their tanks, man.
With
you know.
online mapping and a good
Yeah.
backpack and good gear,
Oh yeah.
portable tree stands like Lone Wolf setups and things, it really changes the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, hunting the marsh edges, the area that I talk about so much is a spot that my dad and my uncle have been hunting for 40 plus years now, and the amount of bucks they've drug out of there, and just absolute giants too, is
Yeah.
pretty impressive. I show people piles of racks and stuff from my dad's, and I've killed 2 up there that are really nice, but it seems like this day and age they're a little bit fewer and far between, but
Right.
we've always got big deer on camera, every single year up there, and
Really?
the chances are always there. Yeah, yeah. I think honestly, if I lived up there and I had the time to hunt that area, because I know it so well, if I had the time to invest in it, like I can invest down here,
Mm-hmm.
I'm firmly confident I'd be pretty successful every year. But again, you're looking at I'm hunting a couple of weekends up there every year. Opening week, if I can get a week off of work, so my time invested there
Yeah.
in the stand is a little bit less than down here. So.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to now. I've been paying a lot more attention since the hunting beast and stuff about like woodsmanship, tracks, really thinking about where this is going, why it's going there, why is this here, why is this there on a micro scale and then on a macro scale.
Yeah.
And the combination of that and starting to build an arsenal of high quality trail cameras, over the couple years now, starting to acquire more and more cameras.
Yep.
And they're not failing, and I'm throwing them in the trash. I just keep getting more of them.
Yep.
And, I don't know if they're going to last 5-10 years and then, or if they're going to last 5 years and then clunk out, or you can get 10 years out of them, but just keep acquiring them. That was always the problem with a trail camera. You have the money to get 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then you put them up, and that
Next
one
year you gotta
spot
buy
where you
another
get a
one.
couple big photos, you're like, oh, I'm hunting here, I'm hunting here,
Yeah.
But you might be getting those photos at 10 o'clock at night. It really takes, having kind of a handful of cameras to actually figure out what's going on. But it's nice for inventorying.
Well, but thinking outside the box too. For example, like you're saying, you get a big buck and you're getting them fairly consistent between midnight and 2 a.m. Right?
Well, try to figure
Well,
out where
deer
they're at
move-
at 7.
Yeah, exactly. Deer move nocturnally a lot of times, so let's backtrack now. Where's he coming from?
Right.
Set some cameras. Now what? He's hitting this camera that's 500 yards back this way at 9
Exactly.
o'clock at night. So,
Right.
it's just kind of like following that trail backwards
Right.
instead of just going, this bait pile, he hits it every night at 2 a.m. You
Right.
know what I mean?
So I'm going to sit here and
So I'm
hope
gonna
he
sit here
shows
and
up
hope
in
he
the
shows
morning.
up 12
No.
hours
But that's what
earlier.
I've started
Yeah.
doing. In the past, I would look at that and I'd be like, well, maybe at some point he's going to show up here during the day.
Yep.
But now I'm like, where is within a mile of here that I haven't been before that he could be?
Yeah.
Let's find that spot right now, this time of year, and put a camera there.
Yep.
And that's basically what I did last weekend. I went out and distributed 4 or 5 cameras in a bunch of different bedding areas, basically within a mile where, I hunt, and just trying to figure out where these deer are coming from, going to.
That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I was kind of trying to pattern from last year's sign. I hit a couple of public spots that are close to my house 2 weekends ago. Just put some boots on the ground and started walking around. Found some really good spots and trying to stay on that. Lock some more down for this year. So
Right.
I it's kind of backwards, but I pretty much grew up hunting public land. That's all we had. My parents didn't own property. We lived down here, and the rest of our family was in the UP. So it's not like we had, my parents didn't grow up downstate, so they didn't have a ton of people that they knew. So, my experience is hunting public land, and it wasn't until later on in life that I even started hunting private land, just with a bow. But
Right.
that's just because I always wanted more spots to hunt. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how many opportunities there really are if you just put in the time.
I didn't realize it until a couple of years ago. I mean, we've had private land to hunt our whole life, and we avoided the public land, and it was a mistake. It really was. There's way more opportunity,
Yeah.
right?
There's just a stigma about it,
Right.
There always is. And yeah, some of that's true,
Some of it, but I don't know, man. I think the next generation of deer hunters is gonna be a real interesting group of people.
The most successful spot I've ever hunted downstate was a 350-acre piece of public property that's surrounded by, I don't want to give away too much information, that's surrounded by giant office buildings,
Right.
And
Sure.
it took me 3 years to figure it out and pattern it really well, and I shot a really nice 7-point with my bow on October 12th, 2 years ago there. So, and that was fun, and I was actually hunting 50 yards from a major freeway.
Yeah.
And that's where I shot that deer.
The biggest deer that I've had consistent videos of and photos of this year was 50 yards off a main road.
Yep.
Yep. Daylight photos, daylight videos.
Just thinking outside the box, what you think is the norm is not necessarily always the norm.
100%.
It's hard to
Sometimes it might
break
be
that,
the
too.
exact opposite.
It's hard to break that,
Right.
Before I shot that deer and before I started patterning that piece of property, when I walked out there, if someone were to say, go over and hunt over here, I would have been like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Hunt right there in that corner by the freeway? No deer there.
Right.
It's annoying because you can't hear the deer coming in.
Yeah.
Well, just because you don't think,
it's all the same to them, though.
they don't care.
Yeah.
And they actually know that you're not over there.
Right. And it's cover noise.
Unless you are.
Unless you are, and then you put an arrow through them.
Well, I'm really looking forward to getting into 2018 and just everything that I've accumulated through the last hunting season and of doing this and going to a scouting workshop. I think is going to be a big thing. I had some guys message in that said that's the best thing they ever did.
Really?
For throughout their deer hunting career.
Yeah.
That's it's a total game changer.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I mean, for one, the trip's going to be fun, but two, that knowledge is just priceless.
right. And it's cool that we're going to do it on a video. It's going to be a little bit of pain in the ass, honestly, the day of to do all that, but we'll be able to rewatch it. You know what I mean?
You're probably gonna
A year
You're probably
from now.
gonna pick pieces out of that too, and you're gonna oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess I never even thought of that, but check this out.
Yeah, like a year from now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every fall, and probably be like, oh, watch that real quick again.
Yep.
Pick up a
Little
couple of
brush up.
nuggets,
It's awesome that he's that willing to share that kind of knowledge too.
Yeah, you
pretty
can't
cool.
beat having a guy like that in the community.
No. That's such a different mentality. You got all these old school guys that usually just hoard that knowledge like it's gold. But
Yeah.
He's going to be happy to get a digital deer camp shirt, I think.
yeah.
Yep. It's a good thing you asked me because I was wrong on his size.
Were you?
So,
What
yeah,
did you
I told you
guys,
2XL.
Did you? I
Yeah.
thought you said XL.
He said XL.
Okay.
I
All
said
right.
I'm guessing he's a 2X because Dan's a big guy.
I was just thinking
He's tall,
oh shit.
long.
Hope I didn't order the wrong one.
No.
Where'd you
Okay.
guys ever end up on the muzzleloader thing?
Basically, a bunch of guys messaged in that are all on board, and I just need to have the time to sit down and put it together and make it happen.
Cool.
And figure out how I can. I mean, there's a lot of guys that message in. I have no doubt, they're gonna compensate me.
Yeah.
But then there's some other people where it's just like, geez, I don't know this person. Are they really gonna? Or is this gonna end up costing me?
Is it
Yeah.
somebody just
Yeah,
wanted
and
to
it-
say,
honestly,
shoot
if it
him,
was
man?
Shoot
just-
him your PayPal.
If it was just me, I would have already done it.
Yeah.
But I have a wife to
Yep.
live with too. She's like,
Yep.
you're just gonna buy some other man a gun?
Yep.
Well, yeah, he's an important man in the
Yeah.
deer hunting community.
He's a very important man.
It's getting weird.
It's getting weird.
All right.
We
Let's
like
get some
guys.
sleep. We gotta go fishing early in the morning.
Perch
For
will be
sure.
running.
Oh yeah.
Well, thanks for trekking over, guys.
Yeah.
Congratulations to all the winners.
Yes.
We'll be looking forward to doing some brainstorming on 2018 digital deer camp.
Yep.
Yeah. And if you guys have any ideas on how we can run it better, we're somewhat
Keep your
limited.
mouth shut.
Yeah.
Keep
You
it
have
to
no
yourself.
idea how hard this
Keep
is.
it to yourself.
Or, if you know people that want to donate prizes, anything like that, or just give us sweet stuff. That's cool
Yeah,
too.
and if you're not following Lifestyle
Lost,
Lost,
yeah.
what's your guys' just
Instagram's Lifestyle Lost, websites, lifestylelost.com. Pretty sure if you Google Lifestyle Lost now, there used to be a weird rap video that came up, but I think,
Yeah. That was awkward for a while.
Well, you're a winner either way.
yeah.
and now that dude
Yeah.
with the neck tattoo finally got off the hashtags. It's
Oh
one of the
yeah.
top
No,
posts.
he posted a gym selfie with his shirt off the other day.
Oh.
Just letting you know.
He uses
other
the
than that-
hashtag Lifestyle Lost.
Apparently. Apparently.
That's interesting.
I don't know why.
Google knows where we're at.
Well, good deal. I look forward to fishing tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good
Hopefully
deal.
it's another
I thought we-
successful trip.
I was hitting the ice hard there for a while, and then I thought we were kind of done. It kind of tapered off, at least in our area.
I don't
so.
like to fish on sketchy ice, and I haven't been out since we got all that warm weather. But
By us, the
No,
industry.
it's
the
gonna
in-
be-
It, has not, it
No,
was
the-
warm for like one day, and it's
Dude,
been
it's
below
like-
freezing.
It must-
for
but
dude,
the
it
in,
must
but
have
the inland,
been-
the inland lakes by us, the shore ice got so bad that they're tightened up pretty good now, but
Dude.
they got real bad.
at my house, it did not get below freezing for a week.
I know.
I've
Like-
heard reports of
There was
16 to
10 inches.
18 inches of ice. Where we're
There's a
going.
pile out there. Yeah, there's a ton. I've been watching. I've been keeping my eye on it.
You got a good sharp auger?
Yep.
Good.
You
So do
probably
I.
brought
Because all
yours.
I got is a spud.
I got all mine.
We don't
I got all
want to
my
be using
stuff.
that with 18 inches of
A
ice.
spud is like a stick bow in the ice fishing world.
Although I
Oh,
don't.
I'm only a spudder.
Traditional ice fisherman.
Yeah, I get
Right.
so much more. I get so much more satisfaction on
Bucket
hunting
and
with my
spud.
spud.
That's funny.
Yeah. Although I didn't bring my auger adapter, so we can't.
And you
use
got
the
one of those
drill.
poles
We're
where
gonna be
you
hand
where you
cranking.
just would wind the string around the two pegs.
Oh my god.
You guys have any ideas, any super savvy, intelligent ideas of how to drive or force people to go to iTunes and give us a ranking or review?
I was actually the other day.
I've tried insults.
Listening to your podcast. I was gonna post something on Instagram just to do that. I've actually rated you twice now.
Huh.
Once from my computer at work and once from my phone.
Dude, that's what we
So-
need people to do.
You want
So, yeah, that's a
cookie?
good thing.
What are you
So-
trying to do? Show
Dude,
me out.
Yeah, that is a great thing. And I'm going to suggest that
For-
too. If your mom's phone is sitting around, your girlfriend's,
There you go.
a coworker, just get on iTunes, subscribe them to the Deer Hunter podcast, and leave us a ranking and a 5-star review.
Do
I
you
mean,
get
I
to,
gave you
do you
like
get to
what?
see who gave you like a 5-star?
It's just whatever they're. I know who some of them are.
Okay.
Because some people, I mean,
You get to pick your name.
yeah,
so.
you get to pick your
So
name.
you could pick
Yeah.
like some random.
I think I
alias.
gave you guys like a 3.
There's some on there. I'm just like, who the hell? I'm like, who the hell wrote this? Like, somebody wrote in some smart ass. I have no idea who it is yet to this day. It's just like, thank God I started listening to the Deer Hunter podcast. I'm such a better deer hunter. I killed all the biggest bucks this year, and it was all because of the Deer Hunter podcast.
Oh,
And
I forget who it was the
Wow.
last one I looked at. Some son of a bitch got me good. I hate Luke Bryant. I hate the asshole. And somebody wrote a comment saying how I'm always quoting Luke Bryant songs and stuff. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
you got me good. You
They
son
said
of
they
a
go.
bitch.
they said the
Hey,
show host.
how about this?
They,
Funniest comment with a 5-star review wins a prize.
well, I'd thought about that, but there's
I mean,
a
'cause
little bit of
really-
stipulation because there's already some guys on there that have written some real funny ones, so they would have to potentially be.
Grandfather
There,
name.
there is, I am going to do some type of contest at some point here, giving something away for, and we did one already a while back. So that's the other. I don't want to exclude anybody that already has,
Right.
but then how do you incentivize
Well,
people that
Yeah.
have?
But, I mean, it's honestly
is, like-
important. It's important to drive the point home because social media, rankings, all that stuff, it's kind of rigged. you know. And if you don't have the likes and the 5-star reviews, you're not going to get out there to people. So that's why, like,
I don't know that I would say it's rigged, but it's driven by.
It's an algorithm,
yeah,
you know.
right.
And if you don't, you know,
I
if
like
you don't
it. I mean,
fit into the algorithm the way that they want it to work, like, you're not going to get in front of as many people. Whether you might have a lot of listeners that really, really like you but are just too lazy to rate you. Somebody else might have followers that kind of like them but are really motivated to like.
I actually would say it's I mean, we're fortunate that it's the opposite.
Yeah.
The guys that follow our show, because, I mean, for the amount of downloads that we get compared to some of the podcasts that I know, the amount of downloads that they get, we have a way higher percentage of people that have gone to iTunes and left us rankings.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually pretty surprising. There's podcasts that have been out there's deer hunting podcasts that have been out 4 or 5 times as long as we have, and they have a quarter of the.
Yeah.
And we don't have, you know, millions of followers. It's just a high percentage of people that listen to the show.
Right.
The guys that really do, they really like it.
Yeah.
And I think it's because we saw a hole in the whole deal where the hunting community, the quote-unquote hunting industry, has essentially separated itself from the hunting the actual guys that built the whole fucking thing to begin with.
Yeah,
the ones that are supporting them.
Massive disconnect.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, let's take a stab at bringing this back to the people that actually make it possible, huh?
Power to the people.
Yeah. Power to the deer hunting people, the guys that actually go to work and want to try to kill a big deer, and they're not, you know,
have a day job and they're trying to fit in their PTO around when they can deer hunt.
And there's other great platforms that are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a unique set of guys and girls that have that mindset.
Yep, for sure.
But I felt that normally insults are the best way to get people to go there. I kind of copied it off of Ranella. You know, he started talking a bunch of shit to all his listeners and whatnot, and I'm like, God, that's a great idea. Insult them.
Okay, I'll give you good rating.
You got me.
I'll prove you wrong.
Right.
I think that's kind
but no, that's a good thing you said.
I mean, the biggest thing is like, you want the Deer Hunter podcast.
What we should
continue like listening to it on a weekly basis, then it takes nothing to go over and give a good review and a 5-star rating, because if you don't keep popping up on that.
Well, here, how about this? We'll give you a shout-out. If you take somebody else's phone, be it your sister, your brother, your wife, your coworker, some random person at 7-Eleven, and you download the Deer Hunter podcast on their thing and leave us a ranking or review. I guess you couldn't leave a ranking or review because you'd have to build an account. But
subscribe.
Just subscribe them to our podcast and take a photo of you doing it.
There you go. There you go.
We'll post it up. It'd be pretty funny.
Yep.
I like it.
Take a selfie.
You got any great ideas?
Well, you're talking about stealing iPhones now. I don't know.
I'm not talking about stealing them. Just borrow them.
No.
You can rank it from any device, sounds like. So, do it from your phone. Do it from your computer.
Yeah.
You gotta
from
have
your
iTunes
iPad.
on your computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do it from your iPad.
I know I'm sick of talking about it, so just go do it.
Yeah, subscribe to
God, all you people that there's only like a quarter, not even like a sixth of the people that regularly listen to the show have gone and done it.
Yeah.
So the rest of you,
A sixth?
yeah.
That's fucking disappointing.
Honestly, I'd say that's
Dude, it takes
pretty
some-
good. When you look at like,
Well, why don't you set your fucking bar a little higher there? Jesus.
Well, she was a 2. Well, it's not bad.
I'm just
Exactly.
I'm just saying,
Exactly.
like, for interaction with people these days.
I know.
Slump buster.
You know. Hey,
And subscribe
needs
to the
one.
Facebook page and the YouTube,
YouTube
channel
channel.
also. It's all
Yep.
Deer Hunter Podcast.
Then I can stop bringing it up.
just do it.
Yeah.
Just start posting Shia
What if
LaBeouf
you did
videos.
this? Maybe people are sick of you bringing it up. So what if you're like, hey, if we can double our comments and 5-star reviews in the next month, I won't bring it up for a month.
We're gonna have to run some numbers after the show.
I'm coming for you, freeloaders.
Well, thanks guys. Thanks again for putting the whole event on. Everybody, thanks for listening, and see see you next week.
See you.
Later.
See ya.